Hello everyone, welcome to WGPQ Minnesota, hosted by Games and Geek, and they have also thrown in 10k worth of cash and prizes. I am your host, Jeremy Franklin. I will be joined through guest commentators throughout the day. As always, if you could please keep us aware in the chats in terms of like audio quality, in terms of if someone needs to be too loud, someone's too quiet, there's an issue with the camera, we'll try to fix those as much as we can. Super happy to be here. It's looking like we're going to have 90 plus players. Because of the buy system, there's some weirdness in terms of the number of rounds, so I'll kind of get someone to come talk about that or give us a little bit better information as soon as I know more. Other than that, though, super happy to have you guys join us. Super happy to be already back to streaming so fast after Worlds. It has been a whirlwind. Oh, right, my little image needs to be fixed here. Let me fix this here. It is not 2018. We should be add source image. So don't mind me for just a second. Just have a little bit of extra logoage here. This should have been already up there, but there we go. Games and Geek hosting us today. Super helpful. Super happy to have them hosting. It is awesome that they have been willing to put up a lot of their own support into this event to really give it a big oomph. And just give it exactly what it needs. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to check something real quick. So I'm just going to kind of touch this off real fast. Ryan, I do have some stuff for Brandon. I do have some stuff for Brandon.
That's why I brought that up.
I apologize. I apologize for that, everyone. I am now back, and we are just about to get started with the player meeting here. Anthony, how's it going, buddy? Glad to see everybody joining in the chat here in wonderful Northfield, Minnesota. I'll be kind of looking at both chats simultaneously, so I won't get you to right away. Please bear with me. And like I said, we'll have guest commentators kind of throughout the day. I'm really excited about this format. I think it's going to be super fun. We do have some weird buys, which is going to mean like a lot of people who have like 1 or 2 buys based on all the different events, because Games and Geek was like, hey, we'll throw some buys in this tournament. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of affects what we see in the first couple rounds. But I do think that there is a lot of potential in this meta. We've talked about it before in the Teacher's Lounge on Ruler School. If you haven't already checked that out, shameless plug. I'll keep those to a minimum, I promise. In terms of like Guild, Shamimi, Ayu, Lumia, or sorry, not Lumia, Imul, a Time Spinning Witch with a couple different variations, Kirik, Scarlet. There potentially, if someone wants to try to go that route, there's just a lot of different things that can happen in this meta. It's definitely far from solved. Gil is the boogeyman, but we'll have to see if he has what it takes to maintain that boogeyman status today, and we'll have to see kind of what people bring and if it's enough to take him out. So super excited. Entry promo and mat this year. We do not know what the GP entry promo and mat this year are. This event wasn't initially scheduled to be a WGPQ. Huge props to Force of Will Co. for being willing to step alongside and make this the first ever WGPQ. However, in regards to that, just because of the timeline, Force of Will was unable to get the playmats printed and the promos printed in time to send here. However, on an awesome note, the company is going to send Svetlana and Landon of Games and Geek all of the stuff that they need to be able to then ship it out to everybody who signed up for this event. So everybody who comes to the event is going to be mailed their promo and playmat. So outside of that, though, we do not currently have knowledge of what those are going to be. I don't have artwork to be able to show you. I can message Jeff. I think he's awake right now, so I can see if maybe he will send me some images to show you. But let me see what I got. Let me message him real quick. Have images of promo playmat. So we'll see what I can do for you there. I'm very excited. I'm very excited just to see so many faces here. A lot of people I recognize, a lot of people I don't. We have some younger players here. I think we have a 15-year-old, a couple other younger players. So, like, that's awesome. The next generation of card game players all wanting to jump in here with Force of Will. I think that's really awesome. For those of you who are watching, we are simulcasting to Twitch and YouTube. So I'll just kind of do a shout-out right now. If there's any kind of lag or anything specifically on Twitch or on the YouTube, just message in that respective chat so I can check to see what might be going on in that area. Ultimately, we shouldn't have any issues, but again, you guys know better than me, so huge appreciated. Will the rounds be uploaded on the YouTube channel? So there's a cool thing in the fact that we are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. YouTube does this wonderful thing where it takes an entire broadcast and then re-uploads it as a YouTube on demand, so you can just go and watch the whole stream. However, we will also be working to take the Twitch stream and clipping it into all the different individual matches throughout the day so that those can each be viewed as an individual video after the fact. So you can watch the whole live stream, which you get to see a lot of myself talking or the people I'm joining with in the discussion pieces, and then you'll also be able to just see highlighted clips of just the matches as they happen. Timeline in terms of that, we try to get it up within about a week and a half, but just bear with us as we try to make that happen. Video looks good on Twitch. Awesome. We do have the streams currently split, so there's people watching on Twitch and people watching on YouTube, so we'll have to see how that goes, and hopefully that's something people enjoy. This is a really nice venue space. It is the Northfield, Minnesota Ballroom. Good space, got some good lighting here. As you can see, I'm pretty well lit. Not too uncomfortable. Good electricity, obviously good internet, which is awesome. And they provided us with food, so they have access to be able to have dining on site, which is a big, awesome thing. So as we talked about before, be sure to stay, if you're playing in a tournament, stay hydrated. I've got my water bottle down here. Stay hydrated and stay fed because it's going to be in for a long day. I've been told that it's potentially, because of the 2 buys, that it's going to be a grand total of 9 rounds throughout the day, which puts us in for a long day, but a lot of Force of Will and a lot of good stuff to show you guys. So I'm very excited about it. It's not even 9 a.m. on East Coast U.S. East Coast U.S. should be at 11:30 a.m. You mean West Coast? West Coast U.S. Literally lit. Stream is lit. Any red decks in this one? Yes, I have been walking around and I've been seeing some Isis. There's probably going to be Keurig as well. Yeah, I think this format is very far from solved. And so the kind of question I have is, what are the big name, quote unquote, players, whether they decided to go with the kind of like safe, obvious route of playing Gil, or whether they decided to go try to do something that beats Gil. So all in all, we'll just have to see. I'm super excited about it, though. If you guys have any questions or anything, or if there's any specific kinds of decks that you guys want to see, just let me know. Ultimately, we have a lot of control over who we can put on stream and try to what we can put on stream. And I'll get as much information from the judges and stuff as I can to make that happen. I'm trying to get a callback real quick to how fast we're going to get the player meeting started here. So just give me 1 second, everybody. Steph. How close are we to player meeting? Printing it out right now. So it looks like we are just about to be able to start the player meeting. They are printing out the deck registration sheets the list as we speak. So we should be able to jump in pretty quickly after that. We'll have announcements and stuff, and then we'll be back with round 1. So I am saying thank you guys so much for having and hanging out with us. Someone wants to see Pandora. Just make sure to confirm whether Ryan is playing green. I can ask him. Ryan Miles. Ryan Miles. I'm Ryan Miles. The stream wants to know, are you playing green? I am playing green. The stream can confirm Ryan Miles is playing green, so we don't have to call him a liar 2 times in a row. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Looking forward to it. I'm going to go ahead and take us to a short break, because the player meeting is going to get started. We'll go to announcements, and I don't want dual headphones kind of speaking over each other. And then we will be back. So I'll see you guys in probably about 10 minutes, if not sooner, and we'll get started with round 1. So thank you guys so much for joining in. It is a huge, awesome, tons of fun. Looking forward to it. And see you guys in 10 minutes. And welcome back, everybody. We are just actually starting the player meeting real quick. As you can hear with this starting thing, have a little bit of a delay. 97 players. That's really awesome. I'm really happy about that. 9-round tournament. Ooh, 9 rounds of fun. This is going to be a good day. So, 97 players here. It's going to be super exciting. I'm letting the players just kind of hear. So if you guys have any questions as we go, just let me know.
Obviously, in any kind of dispute, we're going to use the person who has the more detailed life total, so please use pen and paper. We have a special announcement for this venue. We have a kitchen and bar over there. We're not going to be serving on the right side. We're going to only serving over here on my left, which is your right, I guess. And we do ask that because you're serving alcoholic beverages, you cannot have alcohol in the venue or in that room over there because you're not serving it in there. So as long as you have alcohol, you have to be in that room.
So people are going to be essentially okay, so for everybody, we just finished our player meeting. So like I said, 97 players. There are going to be 2 rounds where we're going to have buys, and there's going to be then 7 rounds of competitive tournament after that. We are going to be streaming during the first round, so you don't have to worry about that. So you guys will be getting to watch here soon. Dell, come on in, bud. Scoot in a little closer. Dell here is going to be joining us.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, my friend?
Doing great.
Yeah,
player
excellent.
meeting's done.
Yeah, you can scoot in a little bit here.
Scoot in.
Yeah, we can get a little intimate.
Get some togetherness.
Yeah. Friendship. There we go. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting day, I think.
So what are you expecting to be the highest in the field?
In terms of most represented? Mm-hmm. Most represented? I think it's either going to be Gil or Chimimi, I think is probably the most represented.
I've been seeing a whole lot of time spinning witch on the floor.
Oh, interesting. I would have put her probably in like the top 4 lists of like most represented. So like the ones that I think are probably going to show up the most are Chimimi, Gil, Time Spinning Witch, and then like it's a kind of a toss-up between whether or not people want to play IU or Brunhild. Like that's kind of a toss-up in my mind.
Brunhild has been impressing me enough, but she's just still so foreign to me that, I'm not really.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been playing in a super long time, so then to suddenly jump into a Rune Ruler, it is a very different style of deck.
I do think that probably the safest call for this tourney was Chimimi because the Gil matchup is good, and when I tested it, a lot of other matchups just felt totally winnable. Like, she didn't seem to have less than a 50-50 in a lot of matchups to me. I don't like the Brunhild matchup, though, for Chimimi.
Like Brunhild is favored?
I think Brunhild is very favored against Chimimi.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah. They're both very load-the-board decks. And
and Brunhild just has a hard punish to Chimimi's Master Rune. And the forms of like, sure, she pays 5, it can't chase it, 3 10/10s, and then Brunhild's like, well, pay 3 and wipe the board. Okay.
Yeah, it depends on how greedy they are with their mana base, the matchup, though, because if you're going 6 Blackstones just to keep your Johns, going, then it's,
and that's why they play the Fallen Angel package. It's this whole idea of whether we go white, whether our base is white or our base gives us more black, we get access to board wipes, which I think is probably what that deck had to do. We saw that deck get played in New Valhalla Cluster of Worlds, and it was pretty successful. I mean, it made it into top 8, and I think ended up taking 3rd place. So like with the Black-White Brunhild. So like, it's clearly got some steam, and then you add into the fact that it's got, in this format, added into it Faith in the Darkness, which is a massive card for that deck, because that deck is like a ton of 2-drops. And Faith in the Darkness doesn't care if you grab a Darkness Resonator, it just says a 2-drop or less.
Yep.
So you're just like, okay, well, I grabbed a Bethor out of my deck, here's a flying 5/5.
And if you do land the Jeanne d'Arc,
it's a 9/7, which is insane.
It's just an incredible swing.
Yeah, and with no access to things like, so the main punish to Jeanne d'Arc way back in the day, you want to turn it a little bit? Yeah, we can turn it. The main punish to Jeanne d'Arc back in the day was Final Battle, because this idea of is you created a if it was like protected, right? You went like, well, I'll Final Battle, and then like everything else dies, and then Joan falls off and dies. Yeah. But we don't have it, right?
Thank God.
Right. Thank goodness. But like without Final Battle access, like there actually can reach a point where you just have 3 Jeanne d'Arcs on the field, and you're just like, well, okay.
Yeah,
those are there forever.
Yeah,
and Brunhild can reanimate it with the 0-drop because it's a human.
And if Brunhild does get that tempo going, with her free rune, she can. If there's a tapped Gil, you swing into it once, you free rune it back,
and it's already at that point in time. It's already a 4/4.
Yeah, and then Gil's like, well, I can't tap for a stone and I can't attack.
Yeah,
because you're just going to put enough minus counters on my ruler to never judgment. Or, I mean, it wouldn't matter anyway because we lost our heal.
Right, but still.
Yeah, but, like, you're going to get rid of my Gil if I call a stone or attack, so I'm frozen because of Jeanne d'Arc.
Jeanne d'Arc is surprisingly beefy, and the fact, like, again, the fact that with no final, like, Brunhild can just be like, well, I have a Jeanne d'Arc again. Like, just like it's free. And then, like her reanimate is like really solid. And then Brunhild by herself, just by being a Valkyrie, one has the reanimate.
Flying 12/12
and
as well.
Yeah, flying. So 1 flying 12/12, which is huge. 2 has access to the reanimate, and the reanimate is literally anything. So once again, it's this whole idea of you think it'd be a thematic thing, but she's just like, nope. And so she just like brings, she can bring back a Belial from grave and just be like, well, here's another board.
The fallen angels are much better than the angels.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She does a lot better with that. You can reanimate into that. You can reanimate into another Joan. Like, you can do all kinds of crazy things. And that deck just, like, really has a solid way of establishing tempo. And the other thing is, too, is Spear of the Valkyrie is an insanely good card. Like, I think that card is probably the best removal deck removal card that deck has.
That's the deal attack.
Yeah, it's deal the attack of the highest attack resonator or highest attack J/res you control. Then if you control a Valkyrie, you gain that much life. But the reason why that's so good is because Brunhild's a Valkyrie, so it's just always live.
Yeah.
So you're just like, well, this is always a 2-drop life point swing, and like. That's if she's flipped, right? So they have like access to Belial, which is a 700, right? Which is 1200. They have access to Brunhild herself, which is 1200. They play Shemhaza a lot, which is a 10/10, potentially up to a 14/14. So that's huge. They play the Azazel, which is a 8/8, which isn't like super great, but it's still an 8/8. And then you consider.
Do they play Azazel?
Oh yeah.
I've never been impressed. The 3-drop 8/8. Barrier.
No, that's Eremos.
That's okay. Never mind. Okay.
I can pull it up. Let me bring it up here on the screen.
I was going to say I was never impressed with that card.
Azazel is this one. Let me pull it up real quick. Valhalla Darkness. Azazel is right. Let me find her. I apologize.
Sorry, guys. Relatively new format for me.
So this is this card.
Azazel. Oh, excellent card.
Yeah. So Azazel is a 4-drop. It's 4-drop 8/10 flyer that also is
9/10, right?
9/10. Yeah, even better. So
excellent card.
This card is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is a super strong card that gives them a lot of value. And again, with that Valkyrie, just like, oh, here's 9 damage. I gain 9 life.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then even like Jeanne d'Arc, because Jeanne d'Arc has first strike. So like for those of you who might be wondering what we're talking about, Jeanne d'Arc, let me pull her up real quick. Because once again, I have access to everything.
Probably the strongest 2-drop in New Frontiers.
I would say that you are absolutely
either
correct.
that or Ray the Black Owl.
So
depending on your mana base.
Yeah. Why can't I find her? There's Ceaseless Devotion.
She's ADK, I believe.
Oh right, ADK. I just can't seem to like. My eyes aren't catching on her. Is that like the one image I don't have? Well, that's like the one image I don't have for some strange reason. That's really weird.
Oh, no way.
Anyway, she's a 2-drop 7/5 that has she doesn't have precision.
And
she has first strike.
The thing about that stat line is that 5 defense used to be the worst thing you could have in Force of Will.
Because True Blade.
Yeah, and True Blade and Lightning Strike and Thunder, if you're that old in Force of Will, you know. All of these 1-drop spells were killing your 5 defense creatures or resonators. So, but now that there's none of those spells, True Blade is banned again. Thank God.
Right. Yeah.
Your defense line dropped from 6 being ideal to 5 being just fine, because the only spell you're really worried about is Kirik's Sundering Dragon Palm.
Yeah, Heaven Sundering Dragon Palm.
Heaven Sundering Dragon Palm, which only deals 4 to resonators.
So it's full art, but here's what we're talking about.
Well, there you go.
Art, so I was able to find it. So yeah, 7/5. She has swiftness and this card cannot be destroyed as long as you control 3 or more J/res, and she counts for one of them. So you have 2 other entities, and then she's like this swiftness body,
which is very easy if you're playing Brunhild, because you just reanimate it. You also just have enough low drops in that deck to be comfortable all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is she deals her damage as neg counters, which is
very
excellent.
important.
Super important.
Which is why she's so good against a Judgmented Gil.
And one of the other things that's a little nuts here, I'm going to go and find it here real quick, is Faith in the Darkness, in the sense of, I'll bring this card up. It is right, because I know I have that one. Or is that another one that I just don't have for some strange reason? Apparently it's one that I don't have for some strange reason. I'll find it.
So Anand's Pathway Part does do 6 and it bounces, but what I was saying is that 6 defense and 5 defense are not very
different.
Yeah, like they're not. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about that too much, because there's no spells that deal less than 6 that you have to worry about.
So this is Faith in the Darkness. It's a 2-drop. You look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You pick a Resonator with total cost 2 or less, put it into the field. If that Resonator is Joan d'Arc Mad Maiden, you get to put 2/+2/+1/+1 counters on it. So she comes in as a 9/7 for 2, which is insane.
Yep.
It immediately gives her swiftness, which is also insane. And then she gets first strike for the turn. So the reason why this is super relevant is against Gil, because at this point in time, if a Gil is tapped for any reason and you go Faith in the Darkness into Joan and they don't answer it, especially if it's a protected Joan, right, with having the stuff, then she can crash in, do the first strike damage, which is 9 counters, and then Gil's a 4/4, so when he cracks back at her, she doesn't die.
Yeah.
So Gil's just like, well, okay.
Yep, so when combat finishes, you just have a 4/4 Gil for the rest of the game, unless they kill it next turn.
Yeah, and it's awful.
Yeah, it's very, very strong.
And I almost think there's almost a benefit. Like, there's like this weird toss-up in my mind of like, like when it's the 4/4, do you just let them sit on it, like keep it as the Gil, or just try to kill it? I think it's based on the situation and based on the matchup. Yeah. Brunhild probably prefers to just go like, let's just kill it, just because I think you're more concerned with Gil's searchability than the life gain piece of it, or than the fact of like, than the life gain in the sense of like you're not taking as much damage from Gil. So I think it's just better for Brunhild to just be like, nope, it's dead, it's gone, you don't get to search anymore, welcome to start milling your deck. I'm just going to out-tempo you.
As a tempo or aggro deck, such as Ayu, Time Spinning, Witch aggro, Brunhild, Kirik, if you can finish the Gil off, even if they've stabilized, that card engine is their entire deck. So if you can take the Gil out, and you even have like 2 cards in hand, you know, as like any ruler, you're in a good spot, because really all they're going to be able to do is hope that they draw one of their usually 2 Karuras they usually main deck.
And then that's it. They have to like bank on that.
And that's it, because otherwise it's Leaf Paladins.
Yeah.
So
5.
Yeah.
5.
And yeah, if they want to jam the elementals too.
And usually they can only cast, typically now, what we've seen with the loss of dual stones, Gil is typically only playing 1 blue stone. They've moved away from black at all, and they've never played red for pretty much anywhere. So like white, and they don't play white anymore either. So that at this point,
you cannot cast the white leaf.
Can't cast white leaf.
Can't cast
red
black leaf.
And can't cast red
leaf.
So it's just like you get a 1/1 that you play 1 copy of,
and then
for the
like
1 blue stone, and then 5
literally
fives,
does
and
nothing.
You're just like,
okay.
It'll
bounce something once, but you know,
you feel bad because
like,
you can't recycle them anymore at that point.
Brunhild is like, okay, I'll play it again. Kirik, okay, I'll play it again, because at that point in the game, you're going to have enough stones to just replay anything that goes back in your hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So game 1 against Gil, I actually do not love Brunhild's matchup, because he's just such a strong ruler.
Yeah.
He has so many answers. But in testing, I and Anthony Song,
Sure.
great player, fellow ogre. In testing with Gil against Brunhild, we found that the game typically goes very late in game 1. And it came down to a lot of top decks because every time you draw a card, Gil needs an answer to it because all of your cards are powerful against Gil.
Yeah, absolutely. The deck is just raw gas. The longer the game goes, it's just, okay.
And now that Gil doesn't have all the spell recursion that he used to have, he only has the spinning Aqua Souls.
Yep.
It's very hard for him to answer literally every threat. So what Gil needs to do is answer the big ones that come out first, the Fallen Angels, the Johns, and then, once he's out of gas, he needs to be flipped. He needs to start searching every counter spell. And the thing is, every card that Jean draws is going to be good enough, and then she also has the 5 runes, which are all very impactful.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So typically it does go late, and it's going to come down to Brunhild top decks. And, every Fallen Angel requires a Vanish. Oh, here we go.
So just having a little bit of a small hiccup with the software and getting everybody paired up for round 1.
Gotcha.
Just try. I mean, you want to make sure that everybody who has a buy gets to not be paired up randomly or whatever. Now it's going to be...
Tell Dell he will lose if he doesn't use glossy sleeves. I hate glossy sleeves. That's
I know
true.
you do.
It's very true. I'm not sure who you are.
7/5 is Delta's 1/1 swiftness if you control 3 total. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Sweet.
Oh yeah, because we were trying to find the card.
Thanks for helping it. I mean, I have all the images for everything. It's just some of them are full art like this,
it's
which
tough
is
to
like
find,
tough to read.
Yeah.
So like most of it's sorted pretty quick, so like I can find everything. So like for instance, we were talking a lot about Brunhild. So let me go into real quick and talk about that.
I'll just. What decks do you think we can expect apart from Gil? So Gil, I hope it isn't the one that shows up most because I hate playing against Gil. But or maybe I'm playing Gil. You guys don't know. Anyway, other than that, the meta that we know of: Gil, Chimimi, Brunhild, Ayu,
Time Spinning Witch,
Keurig, and
that's like the super well established point of the meta.
And then
in terms
rulers
of
I've tried that have, I've had minor success with. Shayla, I had minor success with. She doesn't have a great Gil matchup. Isis, I have not enjoyed, but because really Isis's strongest thing is her Master Rune. Yeah. And every time Gil is just going to say no, and also you're not going to have enough targets to get all the way up to 12 against Gil.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
And even if you do, life gain. He has so much life gain. So I don't think we'll see any ice. I mean, there might be some in the tournament, but I don't think we'll see any success.
I've seen some people trying to vie with Imul.
And what does that look like?
So it's essentially kind of a toss-up between like Imul, Brunhild in terms of black-white stuff. And there's a couple of different ways you can take it. Some people have taken it with a more aggressive route. So one of the interesting things that you can do in Imul is if you have a greedy or black stone base, is you can go Patchwork Zombie.
Oh, yeah.
So you go swing 10, untap it, swing 10, untap it, swing 10, untap it, because Imul just recovers it during your opponent's turn. So then you're just like, well, I have a 2-drop 10/10.
And that's insane against the aggro decks.
Right,
because
exactly.
Frankenstein is going to eat everything that swings at you.
Right.
There's not a single Keurig Resonator that can trade with it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really safe to do it early, because then you just go, well, I have a blocker, so you block, kill a thing, and then you untap it with Imul, and you're like, now here's 10 damage in your face.
Yeah, and the only way Chimimi Resonators are going to deal with it is either a combat trick like Sandstorm after enough trades, or if you have elephants, I guess. Right?
Yeah, and then it's like trading.
Or if you have a Jiraiya that has already pumped your board. But if you have a Jiraiya and you have multiple Toads out, you probably won the game already. Yeah. You're not really worried about trading with Frankenstein. But Frankenstein is a very strong card. If he wasn't double black, I think he would see a lot more play.
I agree. Most of the Brunhild decks that I've been seeing have actually been running him.
I've seen two in a lot of lists.
Yeah, it's a lot of two ofs.
Yeah.
In the sense that, let me pull up Patchwork real quick for you guys.
Bremont is going to make it.
Yep, he has two buys.
He has two buys, so he's going to be here.
Here's Patchwork Zombie. So he's a 2-drop 10/10 that says whenever this card attacks or blocks, he doesn't get to recover the next recovery phase. Which if you're Imul, you just go, that's cute, recover it anyway. Looks like we're getting everything paired up here. So the weirdness too with Imul is this idea of you use it as a potential, either you main it and sideboard into Brunhild, or you Brunhild and sideboard into Imul.
And it's odd, but every deck you're allowed to have a rune deck.
Yep.
So do you still have to show it every game?
You have to show that you have a rune deck.
Yes. So you'll reveal that you're playing Imul, and then you'll slap your unusable rune deck down, and then I guess that could be kind of a trick too. It's like, oh, is he going to side into Brunhild?
Yeah. That's one of the things that's some interesting. And we've talked about it before in this idea of like, there's actually no downside to you just like having a rune deck.
And
so, like,
now I'm sad because I didn't put a rune deck on my list. So, oops.
Round 1 pairings are going live. I will have Steph pick our round 1 table. Steph, just put table 1.
Well, would you want to get like a more well-known player?
Most of them have buys.
Oh, that's right. That's correct.
Can you give me a table 1, a stream table? Okay. If there's any well-known players without a buy, let's go with them. Steph. If there's any well-known player without a buy, let's pick them. We'll start it with that.
I don't think Ryan has a buy. Could we get?
So we're
Joe.
So we're getting we're getting our pairings up here.
Pairings are up. We're going to be picking our feature match.
Ryan Miles?
Ryan Miles is going to be our feature match.
Okay, we're going to have Ryan Miles on stream.
The famous, the decorated.
Ryan Miles.
3-time Worlds attendee.
Do you want to face the wall or face me? So clock's in the middle. Face me. Sounds good.
Ryan is a 3-time Worlds attendee.
Indeed.
He has more top 8s than I can even count.
And who's his opponent? No, I don't. Wait, there's a Kaguya in there. There's a crying Kaguya.
How crying is it? Because I prefer the ultimate art that is crying the most. Green does have a tap ruler. Kill resonate. Of course, Ryan doesn't have a buy. Buys were relatively common for this tournament. I have 2 myself. Landon Young and Svetlana Young are the tournament organizers, and they were very generous in contacting LGSs, giving them buys to coax players to come. So attendance here is 97.
97 players.
97,
yeah,
which is pretty strong for a
I'm super happy about
for a Podunk Town, Minnesota. And the first WGPQ World Grand Prix Qualifier of the season.
Yeah,
so attendance is impressive. We haven't seen these numbers. Did we see them at all last year this high?
Yeah, we saw quite a few that were this close.
I believe
we had a couple that
Grand
broke 100.
Prix Minneapolis was around 90.
Yeah, so this has been pretty good.
Yeah, so this is a really good turnout. Should be, and it's a very wide meta.
Oh yeah, I agree.
6 decks.
Yeah,
right?
at least 6
decks that we
like well established. Yeah, give me 1 second. Does Andrew know that he needs to show up over there? We're pulling him. Okay, sweet.
Andrew. Gotcha.
So, and I'm back. There we go. If you Okay, we're going to go ahead and push it over to the table here and see how things go. Oh, so, right. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to adjust some audio here as we go.
Alrighty.
Oh, I have them. I need to put them in different sides.
Starting off. Now, Ryan did show me his list before the tournament. He has an extremely spicy time spinning witch
okay.
deck. I'll wait till it comes down, I think, to freak out about it. But I'm gonna have you preemptively pull up the card so that we can show everyone what it does. So
not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Wait, Nick, table 7? Wait, what? Nick, he's like, no, I have the buy. I'm like, and then I point out his other name.
And now that we have the table audio, guys, if if any kind of balance issues come up in terms of like you want to hear the table more, you want to hear the table less, you want to hear either one of us a little bit less, just please let us know. We can make changes very, very fast on the fly. That's the beauty of the new tech equipment. So don't worry about the time on round either. They'll start as soon as everybody else does. Either. They're not perpetually.
We're already at 26 minutes.
They're not perpetually locked at a time of 26 minutes and 35 seconds.
We are 50-minute rounds, right?
I think we are starting 50 minutes. Yep.
I know that last year there was an official in the CR 60-minute rounds.
Yep,
but no
TO
TOs want to run 60-minute rounds. So everything's on 50 minutes usually.
They tried really hard to make sure everything.
Oh, it looks like we're playing against Scarlet.
Ooh,
Interesting.
Scarlet. Okay, so not something I expected to come out.
No,
I
but
did
I'm glad
try
to
a
see
Scarlet
it.
deck. I was thinking it might be a way to beat Gil.
Yeah, so we've seen time spinning last season. Collinsville, we had a time spinning witch deck versus a Dusk Girl deck. It was a deck of my friend Jason Lindsay. He was playing it. He was calling it
Jason Lindsay. I love his decks.
Yeah, his great decks are amazing. He called it Garbage Fire. That was the name of the deck, and it was a Scarlet deck that was designed to beat Scheherazade. And it actually, because it ran so many dinos that he just pitched to burn 7, which 7 damage against Scheherazade back in the day was insanely relevant.
Yeah, that's most of their resonators.
Right, so it was actually a pretty solid less. Unfortunately, he just hit Time Spinning Witch a couple times, and it was just like, okay. So we'll have to see if how much Dusk Girl has kind of adjusted.
Yeah.
So these guys are both, obviously, with it being round 1, they're both 000, so we'll have records here at the bottom.
So Scarlet, I was interested in at the start of my testing for this tournament. What is the name of the 3-drop Scarlet card that says attacking J-Res?
Scarlet's Vision.
Scarlet's Vision.
I can pull it up right now.
Yeah. This was back when Gil was maining 4 Gil Lapis Resonator. And really the threat was when he got 1 or 2 of those out with the Judgment, you were like, this is over. Scarlet had the potential, because of her null mechanics, here it is.
There's a lot of text, so it's a little hard to read.
Quite a bit.
But it says if this target J-Res you control with the highest attack deals damage to your opponent to target Resonator, J/Res.
Yes.
But if it has null, it deals that damage to everything your opponent controls. So it's a pretty solid card.
Scarlet being 1,000 attack and having swiftness.
It also gives +4/+4, right? Yes, +4/+0.
Or +4, yeah,
+4/+0.
attack. So having swiftness, getting to that 14 attack, used to blow out the Gil decks. The problem was, counter spells. Gil has every answer all the time, But I did explore Scarlet a bit. I have no idea what this build is going to be like.
Yeah, me either.
I'm going to put my money on Ryan just out of the gate because
I try not to like Scarlet. I think there's a lot of untapped potential in the sense
we also have absolutely no idea what.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like we have nothing. Like just looking at the rulers, I would say that potentially you're correct in the form of like if Ryan is playing like Dino time spinning, I think he's potentially favored.
I could just tell his list right now.
No, don't worry about it. I want to see things. I want the stream to see things. Gotcha. But like, he's even talking about it a little bit too. Like Ryan's talking about like, hey.
Wait, he's talking about his own list?
I think he's talking about like Gil, like why he didn't choose Gil. Or like he's wondering a little bit about the Scarlet Witch, maybe why he chose not to play Gil.
I know with how High Roll was built, it was pretty much just going to be gun my opponent's stuff down and just hit them for free. Oh, that's now dead. Take a quick hit. That's now dead. Take a quick hit.
Did you play Adam Seacart the Bunny? I love that card. I was like, the card just kills something every turn. It's exactly what you want to do.
My deck, my red butter deck, was I ran just base white, red white enter effects.
Oh.
And I used the.
And we're back.
As I said, Ryan's deck has
that is some spice.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see that get played.
Jeremy know what it is, but I'm excited for you guys to see it as well.
We have our match slip box up here.
I'm not sure how much he'll need to use it, as it's kind of a value engine. But it all depends on how fast the Scarlet deck is. I think if it's a more mid range, I think it's gonna come into use.
When you're talking, hold the microphone like half an inch away. Okay.
Just doing some audio corrections.
Our
Head judge Stephanie.
yeah, our non official Force of Will streaming equipment here is
Yeah, the official Force of Will streaming equipment.
yes, very good. But
Stuff at the venue.
The venue's microphones are
Something leaves something to be desired, but that's okay.
Desired, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan and Aaron didn't make it. Aaron was on the list,
Yes.
but apparently did not make it.
Aaron,
So just had something
a
come up.
medical issue, I believe.
Yeah, had something come up.
Yeah.
A lot of players. Oh, looks like an 8 from Andrew over here. And time has begun, so I'll get our timer started here. These guys are on the same clock as everybody else. So here we go. We're going into game 1 of round 1 of the first for the 2019 season WGPQ. Super exciting.
So it looks like Ryan is mulling 3, Andrew is mulling 2.
Ooh, there's a Beyond the Threshold of Time in Ryan's hands. So the 3 dropped at ramps.
Yes.
So-
I believe he's playing either 3 or 4 of those. Yes, this is his play. He says the strongest play in the deck is Idle on 1.
Yep, absolutely.
And then Ramp on 2.
Yep.
He just gets very far ahead. This Awakening Stone, you'll notice, he's obviously playing dinosaurs.
Right.
Because,
it's a different way to
yeah.
be able to awaken stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
And he could even turn 2.
Energizing into.
turn 3 dinosaurs.
Oh, interesting. So this is obviously a Dusk Girl aggro.
Now, what is that card?
That is the
I know
red
it has a
card.
variant.
It does have a variant. So it's fire.
I believe it's a 5/6.
Yeah, it is a.
many cards. We've
It is a.
4/6.
It is a Dread Touch, a 4/6 that if it deals damage to a J-Res, it deals an addition. Or if it attacks a J-Res, it triggers to double its attack.
Now that is very interesting because that will take down Arrested Gil from hand. So I did not think about that during my testing, but Gil being an 11/11.
Well, this is going to deal 8 damage.
never
It's
mind,
only a
never mind,
4/6.
Never mind.
We saw the Beyond the Threshold of Time come out for Ryan, so it's a 3 cost that lets him draw a card and ramp a stone. Stone comes into play recovered, which I think is actually legitimately very impressive. It's just a lot of value.
I don't love the card outside of Time Spinning Witch because
Partner's mix volume is a little lower than mine. Well, I can fix that.
well, there we go.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All the feedback is helpful.
Jeremy Franklin, you are cute. I agree with that. It's very true.
Thanks. So the thing is here is Time Spinning Witch actually can have a problem against stuff that gets too aggressive too fast,
Indeed.
especially if a board presence gets established. In the sense that I'm like, well, yeah, sure, Mosasaurus, but it's just one blocker, and I can't answer the field.
And
so like, and there's so much stuff that it can actually be overrun. So it'll be interesting to see here. That looks like. Oh, that's the Cthulhu that has Death Touch, I believe?
that card was impressing me for a while. It's not Bane, so it does not hit J-Resonators.
It is Lurker in the Null. It's a
Yes.
1-drop 1/1. It just destroys that Resonator, and you can return it back to your hand if you have Null.
And
He tried to swing, and it got bounced back to hand with the Dread Touch. So
And even without Null cards, the less cards in Scarlet's hand, the more threatening it's going to be for Ryan because you're just going to be able to flip for that 1 every turn and go in.
right.
So even if he starts getting these dinosaurs down, as long as he has 1 will,
Yeah, that's all that matters
two
eventually.
will he'll need actually to discard
Sure.
the card. He can get in, he can swing at the Mosasaur, trade it, go back.
Well, it doesn't even matter. It's not a trade. It has first strike.
That's
Mosasaurus
true.
only
That's
has 10
true.
defense.
Yeah.
So then you can actually kill 2 because Scarlet will recover, and she can kill another one.
And as far as I know, Time Spinning Witch does not have any good instant speed removal.
She has out for J-Res. No, she has the
J-Res.
bounce spell.
She has very
beyond
many
the Dragon
bounces.
Lord's Breath, which is
Yes.
the awakening one.
But he doesn't, even though it's only 2 defense, he doesn't have much of an answer for that. I do not like this 1-drop Death Touch, pseudo Bane.
Not in this
Gil.
time. Yeah, against Gil.
Because it doesn't kill Gil because it's not Bane.
Right.
It's only for Resonators.
Another
But we were trying
statue
the card,
coming down.
and it was impressing me.
So the thing is now with Scheherazade not being as much of a threat in the format,
Or not existing.
well, sure.
Another
I mean,
thank God.
she went from 100% threat to 0% threat. Is the fact that Time Spinning Witch is now completely safe to play both idols. both statues, which is a huge thing in a format with 0 color.
Yes, and Ryan is running 4 the 1-drop and 2 of the Angel 2-drop.
So this seems really risky to tap out against a time spinning witch when he's got that much open will
yeah,
with 3
I
stones.
I dislike this a lot. He could hard cast a Mosasaur next turn as well.
He could also, he probably has access to bounce spells here.
Yeah.
He's going to swing in for the 1. He's going to awaken twice.
Draw a card. Yep. Draw a
Nope. He's going to do the double. He's going to do the awakening to bottom top it. So he's going to put he's going to put the Dread Touch back in hand and then the Lurker and the Null to the bottom. That seems interesting.
Yeah. That's
we definitely see a Mosasaurus come down this turn, which I think at that point in time, unfortunately, is a real heavy hit for
I believe
Scarlet.
He wants the Mosasaur, or he wanted the Bane, the Death Touch gone, just
so that it doesn't answer the
he wants to
Mosasaur,
keep
right?
The Mosasaurs going.
That makes a lot of sense. So the thought here is you don't want to So here's one of the things that's important about Mosasaur. Mosasaur has to target 3 stones. So if your opponent only has 2 stones, you can't like double target it. You have to target one of your own. So waiting until his opponent got to 3 stones is just like, okay, now I have to start locking. Ooh, and Ryan plays the Speaker stones here. So there's his green, which also gives him access to Story Black.
Yes.
Dinosaur surfacing coming in. Here comes the Mosasaurus, completely untested.
Yep.
Like, where is Mosasaur here?
And
for those of you who don't know.
This should do a pretty good job of locking Andrew out of the game.
Unfortunately, so I can't find my Mosasaurus image.
But again, like we said, Scarlet, once you just need the 1 stone, and to get rid of his hand, Andrew is holding a Heavenly Fruit. I saw.
Oh,
so
interesting.
He
so
can
just
he
pitch
can
it all.
He can get rid of his hand, which might be the play. Yeah, he missed that. Yep. So
so he has 1 stone for his turn as a basic dark.
Black's what he wanted. So or darkness. So if I were Andrew at this point, I know I'm going to be locked out for a long time. He passed. Okay, I would just Heavenly Fruit. I want to get rid of my hand.
Well, the problem is the hand goes to RFG.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But I'm all right with that because I really need to get my Scarlet going now
if
I'm
fair.
going to have any chance. Let's see if
doesn't look
Ryan
like Ryan
has
a distortion. I don't think he has a distortion.
And he doesn't.
Oh, I'm
have
seeing what you're talking about.
tech.
Yeah, that tech card is pretty spicy with the fixing. So there's 15 coming in. Just gonna cheaply block it. So yeah, that's fine.
I don't know if it's a toss up.
Oh no, a second Mosasaurus coming down here.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about.
It just, I mean, like that's what Time Spending Witch does.
Yeah.
Like it's once she starts the lock train, you're probably locked for a good 3 turns.
And Scarlet's Judgment is black or red?
It's black.
Black. So I would keep him personally. I would keep him locked out of red stones.
He's just targeting the same 3, leaving him with a basic black.
Yep, I agree with that play. Yeah, I'm not seeing Andrew get out of this. And again, I'm not familiar with Scarlet, but I believe...
Yeah, I don't know if there's really a way to do so, unfortunately.
Yeah, so he's possibly saving the Heavenly Fruit so that he can call a stone this turn, use Heavenly Fruit next turn, and then Judgment.
Right.
And then hopefully trade a Mosasaur, or kill a Mosasaur.
He can kill 2.
But the problem is, Ryan he can kill 2. How?
She swings, kills 1 with first strike, recovers, swing, kills the other with first strike.
Oh, correct, because
the first time she kills something, every turn she recovers.
Such an unfamiliar ruler.
So one Scarlet can just be like and pop it out. So I'm going to put Scarlet up here on the screen here because I think that's kind of what we need to be looking at.
Yeah, it's
Raya rulers. Oh, I don't have a Scarlet in my images.
Do we know if Andrew's playing the activated ability stones? They're really powerful with flipped Scarlet. Isis is special stone. I think would be better than a basic fire. I very much agree.
So here is Scarlet on her front. Lots of text.
Never
so
mind.
No,
this is her front.
This is her backside.
Yeah. No, actually, she doesn't have any activated abilities on the back that I can see.
She can pump herself up for 1 red.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
To get an additional 200
fire
attack.
Breath.
Yep, she has 200 0 attack, fire breathing.
Yeah, the Isis Stone, that's very smart.
Instead of the basic reds?
Yeah,
there's no real reason to not.
He has 2 basic black, and I'm assuming he's playing full for Null Darkness.
Oh, I imagine so, yeah.
Because black-red. So the basic fire you're right, doesn't really make sense. The Isis Stone, that would be good. We've got a brewer in chat, Jeremy.
Yeah, I like it. It's all good.
If Ryan doesn't win this event, I'm going to be super surprised. That must be Aaron.
swinging in for 15. He says, yeah, I have to take it. There's another 15, down to 30.
Yeah, the clock is strong. Ooh, I don't like swinging in for 1 there. I
Really?
don't agree with that one.
Why not?
Okay, never mind.
Lower 7 Disciples.
Okay.
And he controls low right.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And his opponent's tapped out, so he's just going to be 9. That's lethal.
Yeah. Yep.
Because he gains all the abilities.
Yeah, I was going to say
So-
you want to keep the Lorite up for a blocker so that he can't double trade the
But he just,
Mosasaurs,
just had 40 damage.
he just
all
has
in one.
a ridiculous 3
No,
drop with
the-
every symbol skill and
+2, +2.
+2/+2. A 9/9 with every symbol skill. I'm glad that card exists.
I mean, Disciples, I think, has and I was talking about this before, that I think Disciples was significantly improved by the removal of Lapis Cluster.
Yes.
That card just sinks value, and Time Spinning Witch just being able to say, well, I also have green, so I also have Time Spinning Witch, so I also have this access to this suddenly 3-drop 9 damage in the air. Like, it's a lot, and like I think the thing that's also really awesome for Time Spinning Witch with Disciples is the fact that it actually has access to Drain, because as we talked about before,
That's
Time
very
Spinning Witch
important.
actually can get overflooded, and so the fact that they can get to this point where they have this 3-drop that's going to kill something and drain them, so they get a bunch of life back to kind of give
And
themselves some breathing room, I think
life
actually
gain-
can help a lot.
Life gain is incredibly important in this format.
Oh, I agree,
because,
1,000%.
IU, a very strong deck. It's going to be represented a lot. Her main combo is to deal exactly 4,000.
Yep, exactly. Just
So even getting to like 41, 42, you know, it's
yeah,
important.
absolutely.
So if you have any amount of life gain, it's just very strong, very, very strong.
And here is Disciples. So yeah, 3-drop 7/7. You get to gain 1 at the beginning of your main phase, and when it enters
Does
until end of turn.
everything.
Like so yeah, and you can just pick Flying, First Strike, Swiftness, Precision, Drain, or give it Barrier, or give it +2/+2.
And then if you have Lorite,
It's
get everything.
everything.
Yep.
So moving into game 2 here, we didn't get to see a ton really of Andrew's deck, so I don't really know what he could
Yes.
potentially do.
Yeah.
We did get to see Time Spinning Witch do Time Spinning Witchy things.
I assume
so there
Andrew
isn't,
wants
like-
to play.
I don't know if I believe in that.
Well, Ryan's strongest play again is turn 1 idle.
Yeah, to turn 2
ramp.
ramp.
So putting him behind on stones is, I think, the best thing you can do, the best you can hope for. And I'm not really sure what he sideboards against Time Spinning.
I don't know if that's the thing. Is like I don't really know what Scarlet necessarily has in its arsenal.
I can't think of anything too relevant except for discard spells, but you can't hit a Mosasaurus with anything except
Well, you're
for an
you want-
Awakened Look of Corruption.
And you want to hit the. I mean, most of the things that Time Spinning Witch is going to keep in hand is going to be the surfacing as opposed to the Mosasaurus, because it can cast surfacing for cheaper. It can't cast Mosasaurus for cheaper. So it always wants to put Mosasaurus back in the deck and then keep the Time Spinning Witch. There is a lot more than 5 cards on that field. That's 7 cards. Yeah, catch yourself.
Magic player.
Um,
Oh, he caught it. Wait, did he?
yeah, Andrew. So he did catch that. He's only supposed to look at 5 cards.
Okay,
So-
good. Yeah, I've been playing a bit of Magic recently, and the little subtleties I've been messing up quite a bit.
First tone Speaker Stone. Ultimately,
is-
the first turn doesn't
Oh,
really
well,
matter.
You know,
yeah,
and there he's
exactly.
got the. And Andrew did give him the play. I believe I disagree with that.
So that's a Crest of Darkness in hand.
And Ryan's just gonna probably get the exact same play again. That
He has a
is
distortion
crest
of time here.
Does
There's
he
that
have,
turn 1 Lurker and the null.
Does he have the ramp?
I don't think so. And looking at his hand, he does have distortion of time.
Double Speaker Stone is bad for Ryan.
Yeah,
He really needs a blue source, which he technically has, but
it's less than ideal. He does have another
very-
idol, so
very
there's
less.
definitely a potential of like
yeah.
he can play the other statue here with one of his Speaker Stones to have access to double
Does
blue.
he have a wind chime in hand? Is that a magical wind chime I see?
I don't think so.
No.
That's oh, he does have the ramp. He has behind the
He does,
threshold.
okay.
It's a full art.
And he can cast that right now.
He
So.
can, so he could use
Yep. There it is.
draw card. Oh, drew into Mosasaurus. which is-
Yeah, this is why I don't want to give Ryan the play.
Oh no, he hit another.
Well, that's bad. So maybe
does
Andrew
have-
has a chance
he
here.
does have
what
another
did
s-
Andrew play? Is this the the Bane?
Yeah, the
card?
Death Touch
Okay.
type. So
Pseudo
interesting
Bane.
play here by Ryan to not play his statue here. He's got one in hand, the 1-drop statue, the Idol of Magic.
What could he be holding up? Favor spell?
Yeah, but at that point
Alright.
in time you play. So the problem is at that point in time you just play the Idol and you have access to that will anyway.
That's agreeable.
So
yeah.
like, I don't think there's any reason to waste it. Like especially since you're going to be able to produce with Time Spinning Witch on the next turn.
Yep. And is that an arrow trap in hand?
Potentially, yeah. Oh, we did see the Dread Touch come down here. Oh, he has to take 200 damage to be able to play this card. So he's at 38.
Andrew needs to hit these Majin Dark Elves more often. You know.
He's going to take it. Oh,
Arrow trap. Gotcha.
Arrow Trap's going to come down.
Ryan is
Oh,
very
killed it.
afraid
He killed
of
the
that Death Touch. that
Yeah,
Bane.
so he's just going to take the
Yeah.
4.
He is. Yeah. He does not mind taking the beats. He just wants his Mosasaurus to live. All right, no 4th Speaker Stone. All righty, there you go, Ryan. Now, when
Is
I
he
play
playing
against
4?
Ryan, I never call the right stones. I have a strong history of that.
Yeah, very much so.
GP Jersey, I never called a black stone against him game 2 and 3. He loved that one. got him a free top 16. And
It's interesting to see. I really would like to see some more of Ryan's deck come out, and I would really like to see what Andrew has in his deck,
yes.
because it's just felt like now that it's just a lot of like basic dinosaur package, and like the null combo idea, which is like doesn't necessarily like cease the. That's like kind of typical Scarlet, right?
Yeah.
So like ideas, I would love to see the creativity of what could happen. So here's the Angel. So this is the statue that was never played in when Lapis Cluster is existing. And here's the reason why. It's because Scheherazade was around, and so there was a lot of addition hate, and the problem was the addition hate also gave them flipping one of their stories back down, so you never wanted to play this one. However, what this card is it's just a ramp spell.
Yep.
1, it draws you a card when it enters, so it replaces itself, and 2, it just turns Time Spinning Witch's thing into, hey, it's also a ruler. She's now a Ruler's Memoria.
Yep.
Time Spinning Witch is now a Ruler's Memoria, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, the strongest thing about Time Spinning Witch is just that mana.
Yeah, this is the 2-drop statue.
So, sadly, I'm imagining the spice I mentioned earlier got sided out.
Yeah, I don't really think necessarily Ryan needs it.
I wanted to tell you guys about it, but...
Distortion of Time coming down here. Do we see a lock? I think this might actually be a turn where a lock happens.
It's not looking good.
Oh, he's already converted. So he doesn't have access to lock this
He
turn.
does not have 3 will.
Just play every single idol you have, Ryan. Ryan in his very traditional thinking pattern. Just going to pass the turn there. So
Ryan
Scarlet.
and his classic 45-minute turns.
Sure.
That's what I love about him.
So sitting at 4 stones, when you were on the play against Scarlet tapping for its 3rd, and you have Time Spinning Witch to convert, like that's just a lot of will that Ryan has to play around with.
I'm not impressed with the matchup for Scarlet. I'm not sure what her good matchups are, but this one does not seem
So he does
wonderful.
have that Heavenly Fruit in play, which you saw.
Important.
Very important card. Another Lurker in the Null, which is going to be a card that Ryan is probably going to bounce in some way, shape, or form.
Ryan is not having any of those today.
Swing it in for 4.
You're 38, right?
I don't know if I like that 2-drop, Jeremy.
The Dread Touch.
I'm not sure. That might be the only 2-drop swiftness besides Piggy, though, right?
Correct.
Yes.
At this point in time, it is the only 2-drop swiftness,
That
as far
is
as I know.
brutal for red.
I think the variant is just a 6/6 with swiftness. Like it gave up the double.
I don't think it has swiftness, the variant. I'm not positive, but there's obviously a reason he's playing this one over the variant.
Right, because you want that extra damage. Another Time Stone for Ryan.
Variants were a very odd addition to this game.
Yeah, but they don't exist anymore, so that's fine.
Yep.
There were some where there were some where the variant was
Scheherazade
just straight
was
better.
yeah.
Was just straight better than the original. There's also the blue variant octopus, was just straight better than the original because they were both
here's
vanillas.
The Mosasaur coming down.
Yeah, just a hard cast Mosasaurus.
It's going to be a tough one for Andrew now.
Well, he still has the lurker and the null, so that still exists.
The lurker and the null is good.
But also, this is a suboptimal.
And he can heavenly fruit his hand away.
So this is a suboptimal. Actually, Ryan can flip here, or sorry, not Ryan. Andrew can flip here, and here's why. Oh no, he doesn't have access to double black.
Yep.
That feels bad.
But he calls one more stone, and he's going to be.
Oh, he's got energize.
Oh, there you go. No.
Oh, this is before.
Oh. I don't like this play.
700 damage to Moza before recovery.
I don't like this at all.
Oh, this is also before recovery. Those stones aren't going to recover.
They're not going to recover.
So the thing, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm not necessarily sure either.
I dislike this. The play I would have gone for is
you can recover the 2 stones. So I liked the play. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you take it first.
Is you just keep the energize. You use heavenly fruit. You flip.
Yeah, you have to use the you have to use the energize to be able to flip and energize. Yeah,
you just get rid of your hand for no value because you just want to start getting in there.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be playing Force of Will anymore. You are out of mana for the rest of the game, out of will for the rest of the game.
Swung in for another 6, it looks like, or another 4. So going down to 28.
And he did kill the Mosasaur.
Yep, but the problem is now he's completely tapped out, and there's a time.
If you not recovered during your next untap, you have not yet had an untap.
Yep, and there goes Ryan with the God Art of Distortion of Time.
Well, that already has happened.
That already happened?
So we did a Distortion of Time. He did a Mosasaurus. And now we're waiting. Oh, that's probably why he used the Energize, because he wasn't going to be able to recover Scarlet.
Oh, that was the issue. Okay. I think I still would have held it.
I agree.
And I really wouldn't have tapped my stones here. I think he locked himself out of the game here. Yeah, the Heavenly Fruit, I think, was important because I think the only hope here is getting in those beats with Scarlet, getting in those trades with Mosasaur. Because outside of Ryan's Ruler, his only win con for dealing damage is Mosasaur. And Scarlet trades incredibly well with it, and by trades, I mean he just takes it out.
Yeah. 12 beats 10, and it has first strike, so there you go.
There you go.
It even kills Time Spinning Witch, because Time Spinning Witch has 12 defense,
Indeed.
so you just can kill time. And it has precision, so you can just like...
Scarlet does have precision.
Yep, she has swiftness, precision, first strike, and imperishable.
I think this matchup is completely winnable for Andrew now that we've really analyzed Scarlet's
Oh yeah,
side.
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it's a winnable matchup. I think that the problem is he's
going for a slower game.
Yeah, which gives Ryan a lot of time to be able to play around.
Mm-hmm. And Ryan loves long games.
I mean, he does.
Spinning Witch Dinos. These 4 green sources are holding him back a little bit. Though.
A little bit, yeah.
Hey, he just crits another dinosaur. Says nope again. Nope, no playing Force of Will for you. And here's my 15-15.
So he is going to be able to recover Scarlet at this point, but it's going to have to call Stone.
Yep.
So if Ryan...
The nice thing is, though, that Ryan can't swing unless he has a bounce spell. Because of the...
Lurker in the null.
Lurker in the null.
Yep. Yeah, that Lurker in the null putting in some serious work.
Oh, Glenda's Anime, you're correct. The boar, the 7/3 boar with Bloodlust.
You are correct.
Would be a very, very good card in this deck, I believe.
Yeah, the boar.
Does
Boar
play
Bound
any?
Hole. Nope.
He does not.
He does not play any of the boars. He just plays Piggy and Squadron.
Yeah.
He gets a Hoyle Pig, Piggy, and Squadron. That promo is spice. That promo for Piggy is like really nice. Swinging in for 1 with Lorite, getting in them Lorite beats.
Getting those in. Block with Lurker.
Seems like a really
got him.
I mean,
1 for 1.
It's a free damage.
Call Stone, hope for black. That's rough.
That's real rough.
That is brutal.
Yeah, that's...
That was a 1 out of 7.
There's a bounce spell in hand. There's an Aura of... Is that an Aura of Hope?
Oh, I love Ryan. Is that an Aura of Hope?
No, it's a Scarlet's Agony.
Okay,
My apologies.
Okay, yeah.
The image looked like you saw the white part of the screen, so I was like, Aura of Hope? No, it's
Scarlet's Agony, very strong against Scarlet, funny enough.
Well, that's goes in the name. Looks like we see the Viola. Viola's a super strong card here. You might see this cast during the upkeep, actually, for Ryan.
Just I like that. Get in
17,
the Mosasaur.
17 in the air.
start that clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you've got Lorite to block the lurker.
Exactly.
And
the other thing
Andrew
is too
can
is if
spend
you
a
look at
card
Ryan's.
to-
The other thing is if you look at Ryan's hand, he's got he's got another bounce spell, and so here's the thing that you can do, is he can throw the lurker in, or even if he doesn't, he can like throw the Lorite under the lurker. That's fine, but then he can also like bounce his potentially bounce his Lorite back to his hand, or he can bounce the Viola back to his hand and make Mosasaurus a flying Mosasaurus again. So here's the Viola. Let me pull it up for you guys real quick. It is going to be full art, so bear with me. I apologize.
It's the only version of it. Viola, very strong card in this format. I believe main decking it in your green decks is
Oh, I don't have
very
an image
strong.
of this. So this is it's a 2-drop. It's 1 green, 2 colorless quick cast, or 1 green, 1 colorless quick cast, 6/6. And she flash in, and she says target J/res gains +2/+2 and becomes a dragon until end of turn and flying.
Yep.
And then she can banish to remove 2 cards.
Yep, you
Target
can
cards.
sacrifice her, banish her to,
remove 2 cards in either player's graveyard
which is
from the
very
game.
strong in this format.
Absolutely.
The Gil very much depends on his graveyard. Hitting, I believe, maining 2 Viola.
I was still at 3,200 because we missed a time spinning thing.
Gotcha.
My apologies. Thanks, chat.
Saito coming in, my boy Saito. Shout out. Viola, a very important card in this meta, I think.
So swinging 1, then swinging 6. So there's 7, takes him down to 30. There's another. There's
15.
Mosasaurus. There's 15 potentially coming in.
Or was it 17?
No, there's no barrier.
No. Yeah, it's just 15. So he's discarding a card to kill the Viola. Deals 7 damage because he discarded a dinosaur.
He's letting him take the damage. So this is interesting. He's taking the damage from the Viola. So he's actually down to 30. And then in response
To Mosasaur attacking.
to Mosasaur, he's burning the Viola.
And what did Ryan banish here?
Ryan looks like it banished a lurker in the null. And that's the 3-drop that makes you see your opponent's. I don't know what that is. And then takes the 15. Let me find what that card is real quick. I can tell by image. Is this by Essence of the Void? 3-drop 8/8 destroy target damage resonator.
Sure. Makes sense.
Swings
sort of
in,
like a Mikage.
Swings in for 9 here. Takes him down to 600 and gains 9 in response, so he's up to 4,100.
That card does make a lot of sense. The problem
He's going to
is
bounce it back to his
tapped
hand
out.
and then just recast it.
There
and
you
then
go.
that's the game.
And get in again. Lorite's Disciple. Very, very strong card.
So that's it. So
All right,
Ryan
good
takes
game
it.
from Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, he was talking about, just as we missed him there, he was talking about potentially trying to push to Judgment just to, like, get cards out of his hand so that he could flip next turn. So
Very strong showing from Time Spinning Witch there.
yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about walking into this event that Time Spinning was going to be a pretty powerhouse card, pretty powerhouse ruler. I think that Ryan just showed exactly what that was trying to do.
Yep.
Let me pull up this card real quick that I was thinking of. It's the Forbidden Fruit. So yeah, this card I think was 100% the linchpin for Scarlet. A flipped Scarlet I think is actually pretty insane against Time Spinning Witch just because of that 1200 attack. And Time Spinning Witch doesn't have a way to deal damage. So like at instant speed. So like anything that's going to try to answer Scarlet is always going to be when Scarlet wants it to happen. Oh, it looks like we're dropping a lot of frames suddenly out of nowhere.
So Heavenly Fruit in that
we are
matchup,
dropping
not very
a
good.
ton of frames. 1 second, guys. We're having some issues with the internet here. Apologies. We're going to go to a break and try to get it fixed up. The stream might have to be reset, so give us 1 minute. Thank you guys so much. We will be back in just a minute.
See you guys in a bit.
live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have, as far as we know, solved the internet problem. We'll be continually monitoring it throughout the day. Appreciate you guys' respect and flexibility in how we handled that. I'm glad to be back. So we were talking about Duska Girl and how against Time Spinning Witch, it definitely felt like Heavenly Fruit was kind of the linchpin of that matchup.
It's an odd card because you're never going to be using it for its value purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's always going to be tapping you out on stones, and the point is to just play a bunch of crap from Grave, right?
Yeah.
But against Ryan, what he needed to do was just have an empty hand so that he can start judgmenting Scarlet.
Yeah.
So what his big play was, I need to keep 2 black mana up so that I can Heavenly Fruit to get rid of my hand. That's literally its only purpose.
And then to also flip.
And then to flip.
Yeah.
So because he had, he could take out a Mosasaur every turn, 2 Mosasaurs every turn.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, live and learn, I guess.
Eventually, yeah. So we missed the fact that Ryan did Time Spinning Witch in upkeep. The Distortion of Time
yep.
got art, so that it was like, well, the stipulation is it has to be on your turn, but it's still an activate ability, so it's still an instant speed.
Yeah.
So that's how that works there.
The lack of resonators make Dusk Girl versus TSW an awkward match for her. I'd agree.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
I'd agree.
So one thing that could have, and the other thing is...
She probably is good in a tempo matchup because of the Death Touch.
Right, absolutely. Null in the Darkness. Yep, that's definitely a card that I think probably gives it some pretty good space.
Hey, Victor.
Victor joining us.
Victor, I'm so sad I didn't... Jeremy told me the spice you have, and... Whew.
I was excited. Yeah, that was some spice. That would have been really nice to see.
Well, he told me after you said you weren't.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. It was after you had told me that you were not going to be able to make it, then I discussed the fact that there was this super sweet spice.
Yeah, almost as spicy as one of the cards in my deck.
Yeah, oh, goodness gracious. We'll put you on stream later today, potentially. As long as you don't go 2-2 drop, it's fine.
Yeah, there you go. If you want, you just put me on round 3. I don't care.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see how you... yeah, we might.
I think we should do a Ryan Palooza, though. Just keep putting him on
Just put on stream for the whole day?
That'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I think we'll pass. One of our goals here on the stream is to show off as much diversity as possible.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing from Steph is that we actually have a really, really diverse meta here today. So she's building the deck list, the ruler breakdown right now, so we'll get it for you guys as soon as we have it.
I've been hearing on the floor about a lot of Brunhild.
Brunhild. I think, what we've expected, I think, is probably going to be the top numbers. Chimimi, Gil, Brunhild. I haven't actually seen a lot of Chimimi.
I haven't seen a lot of Gil.
Interesting.
That's good for me.
That's nice for you. Yeah.
So
that's absolutely perfect for you.
Avoid. That's
great.
That's ideal. Am I too loud?
No, I think you're fine, unless they tell you.
Nobody in chat wants to hear me anyway.
I can always adjust your volume a little.
Is this a New Frontiers tournament?
It is.
Yes, it is.
As you can see right here.
Look at Jeremy. His stream setup is so nice.
And then this is what round is up next.
And then
here's our names. This is Del Anderson, and this is Jeremy Franklin.
And this is
and cards and Games and Geek.
And oh my goodness,
there's so much pointing.
Games and Geek, very, very generous host.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about the breakdown in terms of pricing for this event. We've talked about it a lot in other venues that I won't shamelessly plug because I promised that I wouldn't do so much shameless plugging.
I would. There is no shameless plugging Games and Geek, though, right now. Their tournament, they've been offering buys to LGSs across the country for tournaments they hold. To get players to come. They're all about supporting the game here at Games and Geek. I think it's one of the reasons the game is still alive and well right now.
Absolutely. Stores stores really putting in that extra effort to put their own money on the line, saying, sure, we may not make a ton of money off of this event. We may even just break even. We may take a loss, but ultimately we're playing the long game because we know that this game is worth supporting and we're keeping it alive.
Yep. So 97 players, Victor.
97 players. So let's talk about this. So... Jeez Louise. First place is $1,900 and a paid trip to 2019 Worlds in Japan.
Amazing.
Second place is $900 with an unpaid invite to Worlds. Third place is $300 with an unpaid invite to Worlds.
And how much is a flight to Japan?
Flight to Japan is about $1,400.
Oh, well, okay. I was going to say $900 is kind of a paid flight, but I guess not.
It's a little trip. Third and fourth each get $300 cash. Fifth through eighth also get $150. Top 8 get a limited edition Time Spinning Witch Top 8 Malaysian GP token that was given to Games and Geek exclusively from Malaysia.
So
On top of
generous.
that, because this is a WGPQ, all of those players in top 8 will also be getting a playset of their participation promos and their prize card for this tournament. We don't know who this ruler is. So
we don't?
We don't know what the ruler is for this tournament.
We do know that we've gone back to acrylics, though, instead
Correct.
of the gold Ubers.
So it's gold, so it's gold, silver, bronze, acrylic, acrylic.
A lot of people are fans of the acrylics.
I am also a fan of the acrylics.
Yep, including our own Jeremy Franklin.
So 9th place gets a gold Charlotte ruler. 10th place gets a silver Mikage ruler. 11th place gets a bronze Feasting ruler.
All of these from Games and Geek, by the way.
Yeah, this is all This is all provided by Games and Geek.
Yep.
12th gets an acrylic Zero. 13th gets an acrylic Mikage. 14th gets an acrylic Feasting. 15th gets an acrylic Charlotte. 16th gets an acrylic Mars. 17th through 24th get a AG signed promo Pants On Cheshire Cat the Gritting Remnant full art promo.
Pants on. Important.
It's pants on, not pantsless. 25th through 34th get custom limited edition Lich Malaysian Energized tokens that have different artwork than the ones that were used at Worlds. It's actually a unique artwork that they designed for this event. 35th through 84th get a limited edition Hanzo Ninja Cat Malaysian Energized token with artwork that was different than the artwork used at Worlds.
Such
so
generous
up through
pricing.
34th. Or
and
84th.
Just for coming in, 2 promos of your choice.
Yep. And then 85th through 100th. So everybody here is walking away with a playset of a Japanese promo
There you
of
go.
one of the recent Roulette Leagues
There
promo
you go.
cards. So
Big fan of foreign cards.
I am very much a big fan. So time on round has been called. People are still playing, so we got a little bit of time. You're recording yourself. So they also have playmats, banners, and they're going to be doing drawings for random playmats, drawings for random banners. The value here for just being here is insane.
If you've ever been to a Games and Geek Cash tournament, this is how it always is. Just great value. $30 entry usually at Games and Geek 1Ks.
Yeah, absolutely.
2Ks. I've been to a lot. Little humble brag. I've never lost one.
You've drawn one though.
I draw every single one. We always get to top 4 finish, and we're all buddies here in Minnesota, and we're like, well, I don't want to take money from you. You don't want to take money from me. We'll just, both walk away with some good.
What was on stream round 1? We had Time Spinning Witch with Ryan Miles versus Andrew Kohler and his Dusk Girl list.
Dusk Girl. I won't say I'm unimpressed with the Dusk Girl list.
I just think that
I
he
just
got
saw
bad
some
beats.
lines.
I just got some bad beats.
Well,
I think
we saw some lines that Andrew didn't see.
Yeah,
that could
potentially.
have gotten him the game.
Absolutely.
One of the games. Which
it happens. People don't see things. Like people don't see sacking 3 Spirit Stones sometimes. They completely forget about it.
Yeah, and we don't know how new players are. This
Exactly.
This is still a young game.
Nobody is perfect by any means.
And he obviously built the deck very recently, because you can't net deck Scarlet. So
right.
It's
97 players at this event.
97. Perfecting a homebrew and then learning all of the lines, all the plays. It's a lot to take in. So
yeah, absolutely.
I just respect people bringing their own. My favorite part of Force of Will is deck building, because having your lands or stones, your resources in a separate deck, it almost removes variance.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So deck building becomes infinitely more important than in games like Magic and White Schwartz and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Because the resources is a separate system.
Because resources, and it's a separate system. Yep. So that's always been my favorite part of FAL.
Yeah, me too. Myself as well.
Putting together your own decks, perfecting your own decks, and so I'm always impressed with people who can get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I fancy myself more of a deck tweaker than a deck builder,
and that's a good quality too, I think.
So I think that anybody who can walk in and kind of with these really creative, grand ideas, like just how they coagulate is just like. Wow, I'm always blown away with it. And the other thing that I think is really awesome to see at this event is we have a lot of regulars, a lot of people you see at a lot of different events, a lot of new faces, and a lot of young faces. There's like a group of people playing here. They're like
quite a few
15, 14, 13s.
Yes.
And that's That's awesome. Like
Yep.
that's super great to see, and it's also really nice to see. I'm already seeing them like having a good time and like talking with other players and stuff. That's one thing I definitely love about these events is it definitely feels like a community. It's not just like
I love talking to young players because generally they don't net deck. You know, they
bring
generally
stuff.
have their own thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, after the game, you know, if I win or lose, whatever, you know, we look at his. I played a young girl in Jersey, maybe like 13.
Sure.
And this was during Priscia Fox meta, and I and my teammate Saito had built a Lumia Reanimator deck.
Sure.
And, so I was playing against her, and she was playing Blazer aggro.
Oh, nice.
Which is like, hadn't seen that in a while. Or, yeah, Blazer aggro.
Yeah. Red, green.
Yep. And so that was quite a lot of fun. And she was playing cards like Wall of Flame. You know that card?
Refarce Wall of Flame. The 2-drop instant speed generates a token that the next
makes
time
a
it turn it dies.
10/10 flyer. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you cast it after the trigger. It lives until your turn. You punch him with it because it, you know,
it's going to die at the end of
the
turn
summoning
anyway.
Sickness, and then it's a 10 damage burn spell for 2. Sadly, I was playing a deck that resets your life to 4,000 every turn. So, but it was very cool. She was 3-0 when I played her.
Yeah, nice.
And you know, everybody bring your own deck. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to go step away real quick. We should be transitioning here. There's still a few games playing. I'm just going to go make an adjustment over at the stream table real fast, so I will be back in a second. I'll leave you to yourself.
Talk to Chad here for a sec. Hey, Asherstone, how you doing? Well, we get a ruler breakdown. Stephanie Shaw is sorting the deck list right now. We won't have deck lists while I'm still at the table because it would give me an unfair advantage during the tournament. But you guys will have deck lists if Jeremy is ever commentating by himself. I don't know if he will. Players might drop. Players might start coming up, talking to him as I'm doing. But Steph is going to give us the ruler breakdown in just a bit here. I'm sure there's Lucifers here, but they're working on the ruler. Yep, Stephanie. Yep. Look at this cutie. Oh, hey Eric, how you doing? I'm good. Cool to see you doing well. Wanna like PM me who you are? All right, the Miles kid. He's not. Oh, okay. I'd like to see a Keurig duel. I love Keurig mirrors. My good buddy Andrew McIntyre, I think, is the best Keurig player in the world. He got 2 top 8s with it last year. He took it to Worlds. He played it day 2. I believe he had a top 32 finish day 2 in the wrench tourney. Keurig is a very fun deck, and red decks traditionally are just, you know, turn sideways. But Keurig has so many lines and so many plays because his strength counter resources are so important. It looks like we are. Never mind. Round will be starting soon, but not quite yet. Yeah, Andrew, I think the strongest Keurig player in the world. Okay. Okay.
And I've returned. The conquering hero.
Dell, how has theory crafting been this format? I tried Scarlet. I tried Shayla. They didn't work for me. Yeah. I tried Lucifer. I didn't like it.
No, you didn't like Lucifer very much?
I didn't like Lucifer.
So why not? What about Lucifer makes you feel like he wasn't good enough to
the
bring
Gil
to this
matchup.
event? Just the Gil matchup?
The Gil matchup. What I did like was his Chamimi and Witch matchup. Incredible. Sure. It's just almost an auto win because of the -6 board wipe.
Oh, sure.
I found his Keurig matchup to be not good, though.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. We've talked about before how it definitely feels like there's, in terms of darkness rulers, that Rhea has a lot more strength in terms of game 1 for this field. Let me then Lucifer. Let me preface that. So like what's going into this is this idea of you play Rhea game 1, and then you have Lucifer ready because the decks aren't very different. And you could start with Lucifer and then go Rhea, whatever. And the whole thing is, like, Rhea has a stronger aggro matchup than Lucifer because she has the best removal spell in the game right now for 1. So it's 1 and it kills anything 4 or less. It's Sword of the New Moon. Hands down the best removal spell in the game. currently.
I did. Well, my
So,
good friend Saito
Sword of the Moon.
was telling me about a Rhea deck that he tried. You can get them down to 0 cards faster than Lucifer can.
Right.
But the problem is the follow-up, which is
Yeah.
not strong. Because you're using, you're probably going to be at 2 or 3 cards when you get them to 0. And eventually Gil just flips, and then he has infinite cards.
Yeah.
And Rhea, she doesn't have a fast clock.
No, she doesn't really have a lot of like
She
super
doesn't really
aggressive
yeah.
like creatures to stick. So that eventually you're just like, well, how do I kill you?
Which
Which is
and then
difficult.
against Gil,
Yeah, with
he's
life
pumping
gain.
out White Leafs. He's pumping out Spiritual Guidance.
Yeah,
It's-
Spiritual Guidance has been a beast. It used to be a card that Guilds were playing as like a one-of because they would just always cast it the turn they flip and then draw 2 and it's
Yeah.
fine. But now it's actually become a pretty common like 3 to
Life
4
gain.
of, and
so
yeah,
important in this meta.
it's just you gain like 6, 7. We were play testing last night, right? I think the least I ever gained off of it was 5, but I was like 5, 6, 7, 8. One time I think I gained 9.
And I was playtesting
like-
IU against it,
Yeah.
and
I got to like 78 life.
gain 1 life, and it just makes it gives IU such trouble.
Yeah.
But I think one game you're at like 68.
And you still killed
and-
me. Yeah, in one turn, I think you did like 74.
Oh, yeah, I pumped it to like a 35,
and then swung twice.
But
and I was just
still,
like, oh, okay.
that doesn't happen often. Yeah, TSW has 3 versions or more. Brunhild has a ton of options. Lucifer Chimite. Yeah, Victor, there's definitely a wide format, but when you asked me about theory crafting, I was thinking like non-established ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's a wide format. It's a healthy format. Healthiest FAO has been in
I think probably
over
at
a year.
least- Yeah, I think over a year.
Over
for
a
sure.
year, like a year and a half.
Like we've talked about this before, and we talked about it at the beginning. Gil is the quote-unquote boogeyman, quote-unquote, but he's not perfect, and he can't be built to beat everything.
It's
So,
very
like,
true.
Like the main deck cannot be built to beat everything. So like if you build it to beat something like Time Spinning Witch, if you build it to beat something like that, then like you definitely open yourself up to more of the things like the Brunhild, the other kind of stuff. You definitely open yourself up to that kind of stuff, as opposed to if you do the other way, then you're open up to Time Spinning Witch and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
and
it's,
as we
it's
said
not
earlier in the
perfect.
stream, these decks, like Brunhild and Time Spinning Witch, these game ones, Gil is not favored, I don't think.
No, I agree.
And really, most of the time, you only get 1 game against Brunhild because
It's
so
going to
many
go long.
threats.
It's going to go
He's
so
just-
game
yeah.
long. Yeah,
And those
Brunhild can kind of use Gil's slowness to their advantage in the sense of like, yeah, okay.
Like they're
Like,
going
we're
to
not
switch
gonna-
a card
you're
every
not-
turn.
I'm going to beat you game 1, and then
Yeah.
I'm never going to finish game 2.
Speaking of Brunhild, Heavenly Fruit, actually a very strong card in Brunhild.
I'm not sure if I agree with that unless you play it late game. Mainly
Late,
because
but that's why against Gil. you know?
Sure. Because the main reason again, right, if you play with enough will, you can just be like, here's 3 Joan
Yeah,
Darks.
because really, in the Brunhild matchups that I tested against Gil, we were getting to like 10 stones a lot.
Sure.
And so, you're at 10 stones, you cast Heavenly Fruit, you play 2 Jeans from grave.
You reanimate the
and
3rd one for free.
Well, you've probably already used that by now.
Yeah,
but you Heavenly Fruit, you use your Blackstones, play 2 Jeans, then you use your other mana, play Fallen Angel, and you're like, look, I'm reestablished, and you don't have much left.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if anything currently in this format that can, outside of a bounce spell, let me say that, outside of a bounce spell, there's nothing in this format that can answer 3 Jeans on board.
You are correct.
Right? I think there's not, like, if you stick 3 Jeans and they're all then protecting each other.
Because in Force of Will, it's different from Magic, where if you have 0 defense, but you have Indestructible or Eternal,
you still die.
Nope, you do not.
Right.
They die in Magic.
In Force of Will,
Force
it
of
doesn't.
Will, if you have 0
Right.
defense, but you're indestructible, it doesn't matter.
So, it's 3 Joan d'Arc,
Yep.
Mad Maiden of Darkness.
So
if you have
the
3
thing
of
that
them on
could
board,
possibly kill it is if it was ruled like Magic, would be Lucifer's Board Wipe Rune, gives -6 to everything. But
and then you just have to remove one thing off the board to be able to kill it.
But you can't because they're indestructible.
Because all 3
they're
of them
eternal.
they're protecting each other.
So getting 3 Johns, that's kind of hard. But if it happens,
if
it happens,
you see it
you're
happen,
feeling real
okay,
good.
so that's going to be the stream moment we're looking for. This week.
Baby, that's what we're
going
hoping
to see
for.
Triple Gene on board. We just go, those are never going to die.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, so we have 97 players. Oh, you could ruin Story. Yeah, that's an option. You make them banish 1. Like,
Victor,
there's a couple.
so smart.
Yeah, Victor coming in.
Victor,
coming in
why
clutch.
aren't you here?
He missed his flight, sadly.
So unfortunate.
Lucifer Master Rune, Lich Master Rune.
We got to Skype Victor in for extreme commentary.
Yeah, sure. I guess I should preface the triple gene, and good job pointing this out, Josh. That's Cash and Drith. Like Jet Black Wings can't deal with triple. We just talked about this.
That's it. Yep.
It can't answer that. But
yes, the
Lich Master Rune.
True.
The Lich Master Rune in combination with Spectre Rush. So let me pull that up.
Yeah,
real quick.
a very important stipulation.
So you have to have both. You can't just have.
Well,
one.
it depends if you have a lot of resonators out, but usually you're not.
Well, you need a death. Right, like you need the death touch because
No,
Spectre Rush generates the counter.
Yeah, I believe that his Master Rune is whenever one of your creatures dies, destroy an opponent's.
Yeah, and
or
then
your
Spectre
opponent
Rush
sacrifices one.
Right, and then Spectre Rush generates all the counters. So that's what Cycle of Death does, and then I'll bring up the other one that you also can't read because unfortunately it's full art. But Spectre Rush generates for every J/Res your opponent. It's either J/Res. J/Res.
Yeah.
So for every J/Res your opponent controls, you generate that many 2/2 skeleton tokens that have swiftness and precision.
It's like a Wolf's Rain that's playable.
Exactly. And then you combine that with Spectre Rush, so then you just go, and then you just like crash all your tokens into all their dudes, and then all of their dudes die, and then all of your actual bodies are like, oh cool, swing in. So like this is the closest thing we have at this point to Final Battle.
But it's 4 mana and 2 runes.
It's 4 will and costs 2 runes.
So, you know,
so it's like
a reasonable Final Battle.
Yeah, right.
1 mana. Oh, I don't miss Final Battle.
No.
I don't miss Severing Winds.
Burgeoning Despair. Look at these people pointing us out.
Yeah, God, these guys are so much smarter than us. Burgeoning Despair. How do you feel about Flourishing Hope, Burgeoning Despair in this format? First of all, the decks that can play it.
Brunhild and
Imul and Ayu. Seems important in Ayu.
Doesn't seem super important in Brunhild.
Seems important in Ayu. Indestructible. You know, Gil.
Also being
Gil has
things.
Yeah.
I think Brunhild just has better access to other removal. That's just better.
Also, Brunhild is a tempo deck. It just wants to be putting something on board every turn.
Yeah, and combat tricks.
Yeah. So I could definitely see Flourishing Hope in the deck. I don't know how much you want to main. 2, probably. I'd probably play 2.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't know how incredibly important it is. But, yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
You know, you cast it twice. You 2 for 1 every time. 2 for 3 most of the time. Or 1 for 3. 1 for 3,
yes.
Excuse me. Not bad. Not bad in card games going 1 for 3. We are 15 minutes over round time.
Yeah, it looks like people are just about finished.
On?
I think there's still stuff going on.
We're
gonna be having Brandon. I don't know if any other games are happening right now. It looks like every game is finished, so it looks like they might be printing out round 2. Let me check.
And we should have the ruler breakdown soon.
Yeah, that's why I was just asking if you had any. Just tell me who you put on stream. It's fine.
I'm also a fan of Wolf's Rain, Cast and Drith. I made a fun for locals. I made a. What's her name? Not Scarlet. The ping one every time you attack.
Oh, Lunya?
Lunya, yeah. I played Lunya, and it was when elves were very popular. So, you know, you Wolf's Rain against elves. You've got 3/3 precisions, and then, you know, every time you swing with one, you ping. So, like, they played Oberon, and I was like, cool. And then in Wolf's Rain, and I ping off every elf, and then yeah, it was sweet.
For those of you who are wondering about Wolf's Rain, let me pull that card
Not
up.
a good card, but a fun card. The best kind.
Right here. Wolf's Rain. So puts 3/1 or 3/3 Darkness Beast Wolf Resonator tokens with swiftness and precision on the field. At the end of the turn, they get removed from the game. Which
so
is like
very similar to Spectre Rush.
Yeah, which is very similar. Spectre
Rush
it
costs 3 and it's chance speed.
Yeah.
Or Spectre Rush chance speed?
Correct. Spectre Rush is
okay.
also chance speed, as is the Master Rune.
Yeah.
I think. Wait, no, the Master Rune might be in.
Master Rune is. I'm pretty sure that's instant.
Yeah.
One of them is instant. At least one.
One of the two.
Messing with it in Lich right now.
Rain Rune plus Wolf Rain. Make all of them 5/5s.
Not bad. It's just so slow, and yeah, it's very fun though.
Oh, I have the ruler distribution.
Here we go. Let's see.
So 97 players. Why did you? Okay, thank you for. Wait, this is the
district. Oh, very surprising.
Wait, this is the.
It's extremely diverse. There's 84 total because we have a lot of people who have buys who aren't here.
Oh, so we're waiting to see what they're playing. Oh. Oh, sure. Okay.
So okay,
Okay, so
our
we've been
total
told
players.
our total number of people including. Okay, so there were 97 players registered for this event because a lot of them had buys. There are 84 of them are here.
Showed up.
And I will speak to the fact that a lot of people had last-minute cancellations, like they were going to be here. So, like,
Also, this was pretty sudden.
Yeah, so actual people in the room is 84. Here's our distribution. This
Exciting.
blows my mind. So 84 players. First up is Time Spinning Witch with
Highest
13.
number is Time Spinning Witch.
Second is Keurig with 12. Third is a tie between Broodhild and Lucifer at 9.
9 Lucifers,
9
Jeremy.
Lucifer. Fifth is a tie between Chamimi and Gil at 8 apiece.
Gil is at 8 today, guys.
Yeah.
The
Out of
boogeyman.
84 players. Seventh place.
10%, less than 10%.
Yeah, seventh place is IU at 7. Sixth place is ISIS. Or sorry, eighth place is ISIS at 6th.
Wow.
Ninth place is Imul at 5. Then we have
Now we get to the fun ones.
Then we have 3 Loki and 3 Tigris, 2 Scarlet, 1 Seal, 1 Freyla, 1 Hanzo, 1 Rhea, and 1 Shayla.
Who are we rooting for, Jeremy?
Oh my goodness, who is there?
Let's get the underdog.
Seriously.
I mean, I'm rooting for Pandas. I'm not playing Pandas, but if I'm not winning, then I want Pandas.
I would love
win.
to see. I'm a big fan of Imul, so like that, I would really love to see Imul happen. I definitely think that there's something there for her. Out of the like top 5 rulers, I think the one that I want to have the most, the one that I want to win is Broodhild. I want Broodhild to kind of swap
has a
it.
strong showing
And
today.
I'm impressed with the number of people who decided to commit to Broodhild, and I love Broodhild as a ruler.
Very cool.
And I think the deck building that goes into her is a really I think it's kind of like stands in the face of everyone who was like, we don't have dual stones anymore, this format's going to suck.
Yeah.
And I think the Broodhild players would, no, like this format I don't need dual stones. It can still be possible. So like the rallying cry of like the Lucifers and the Broodhilds who are rocking that like white-black color combination, like that's awesome to me. So like that's where my vote is. Either, I mean, if the Lucifers are black-white, Lucifer or Broodhild has my like, let's do it.
I think Brunhild has a much better chance than Lucifer.
I agree.
Just because, well, actually, Gil's not in strong numbers.
Yeah,
and
that
Gil,
might make Lucifer better.
Easily the hardest deck in the format to play is Gil.
Oh yeah, hands down.
So you know, if a high skill player's on it, it's gonna go far. But you know, if someone less experienced, maybe newer to the game, is just bringing the deck that got first place at Worlds,
yeah,
deck it, bring it. It's a very hard deck.
So out of all of
almost
these lists,
unlimited lines.
Yeah, almost. In looking at this list, is there any list that you're completely like, what, in terms of rulers? Because I have one that I'm completely like, I don't understand why it's here.
Let's take a chance. Let's take a look
see what
here.
you decide.
CL.
Yeah, there it is.
Why are we playing CL?
I mean, I would love to see it. Maybe we can put it on stream later. But like, CL, I think. Let me go back to my previous statement of like planting a flag in the sand and saying we don't need duels, and then you have CL who goes, wait, no.
I would like those.
I would like those back, please. Just because all of the auras are spread out over so many different colors.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other weirdness is Lorite exists in this format. So like, if it gets paired up against a green deck, it's just like, well, okay, flip. I remove.
Flip, do all my stuff, and then you're like,
because it's all one effect. So.
Yeah, CL. That's an odd one.
So they're entering in the second round buys.
Yep, so round 2 is going to
having a little bit of a delay, and it's not unexpected with a round of 2 buys. It's the first GP type style event that has buys at it. So typically we've already
and we have 3 judges today, including Stephanie. So,
yeah, so
a lot of work to be done.
But they're doing a great job.
Yep.
Super awesome. We haven't had any real hiccups. I'm still having a little bit of an issue over at the table space. I'll be right back. I'll let you talk.
I talked to the CL player, and they said they've been building that deck and working on it for a while. I hope he does good. Yeah, I hope he does great. Looking forward to the top 16 distribution. Well, I'm going to make it to that top 16. Nice turnout, rooting for Loki. Yeah, okay, so Worlds format. My good friend Michael Song, he was testing Hanzo machines, obviously, right? He decided to switch to Loki. Loki has some very strong plays. If you can Judgment Loki and play a Fenrir, it's insane card advantage. I mean, it's very hard to lose from that position. So Loki has impressed me quite a bit. She gets Dinosaur Resurfacing. She can turn 2 Dinosaur Resurfacing, I believe, Loki, because she has the rune
that produces for Awakenings.
Yeah, so And the Awakening for Dinosaur Resurfacing, is it 4 or 5 total cost?
It's a total cost of 5.
Total
so
cost
it's
of
1 to
5.
cast, and then 1 blue and 3 colorless to awaken.
Yes. So turn 1, call stone. Turn 2, 2 stones. And then...
So if it's...
Turn 3, she can Dinosaur Resurfacing. Because 3 stones, you use 2 of them to produce... Oh, that's it. The Awakening Stone. That's what I'm thinking.
So you
of.
like tap it and banish it to double produce. So that's like, because you have to sack a stone to do it.
Well,
like,
also though, if you can flip Loki and keep her out, that's
those are just free.
She's an 8/12,
yes,
8/10,
8/12.
8/12. That's a strong body. Doesn't die to Gil. It requires Gil to use 4 elementals in hand to use a 5th element to kill it. There's just not a lot of removal that beats out Loki. Yeah, check her out here.
So here's Loki. Yeah, no,
8/12.
it's 8/12. Yep.
And on board, that's just your Fenrir's, crazy strong.
Yeah, that card is crazy.
Dinosaur
strong.
Awakenings, or what is it? Surfacing. Dinosaur Surfacing, very easy to cast. Gretel and Hansel are actually
Gretel
fairly
is
impressive
nuts.
cards.
I think Gretel is really nuts.
Fairly impressive
I've seen a lot of time spinning, which ideas toy around with the idea of playing rather than playing the ramp. They play. It's more of the diversity town that plays Gretel. The idea is you play Gretel turn 1, and then all your awakenings draw you a card.
Let's talk about Diversity Town.
So Diversity Town time spinning.
You want to pull it up?
Yeah. So let's talk about this card.
This deck came out in World's top 8, correct? 8th place. World's Day 2.
Yes.
The weirdest deck you've ever seen. When you take a look at it,
it's existed before, like in different iterations,
but without dual stones.
But
it's just a weird card.
Yeah. So this card is it's 1 colorless, 1 white. Resonators you control gain +1/+1 for each different race that you control among resonators you control, and then your resonators gain barrier, swiftness, flying, first strike, precision, and drain if your J ruler has it. When the J ruler's flipped.
Time Spinning Witch has both barrier and flying.
Correct. So the idea is here you play a crap ton of 1-drops that are dual typed. So like Lowly Spirit Bug is a spirit and a bug. So it's like that's 2 free. Gretel is also 2 different things. So this whole thing is you playing all these 1-drops and they just get like insanely big.
Vivian,
and then you go like,
fairy.
Vivian's a flying, that's a machine and a fairy. So then you just go, okay, cool, well they're all gigantic, flip Time Spinning Witch murder. Like, because you can't answer it.
The problem is the fragility of the deck.
Oh yeah, it 100% relies around Diversity Town.
It also relies on statues, mana fixing. Yeah. So if you can't get to one of your statues, so what you need to do is mull hard for a Diversity Town and a mana fixing statue.
Yep.
And that's sometimes, it's not horribly likely. It's not out, it's not out of the way, but if you don't draw some blue drops, or you're mana fixing right away, it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it's very much the kind of definition of a glass cannon.
Yeah, but let's reiterate that this deck is just probably it's not as fast as Keurig, but it's just overwhelming. It's much harder to answer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In game 1, we've seen it versus Gil many times in testing, so I guess you guys haven't seen it, but I have. Anyway, it just. You swarm the board against Gil. He doesn't have final battles anymore. He doesn't have anything to wipe the board.
So they just stick. They're beefy.
Yeah, and like your spirit bugs are like 9/9 sometimes. Like, and if you stick 2 Diversity Towns,
oh geez, I've had that happen to me.
Yeah, your board is just like
everything's getting double pumped.
You can't recover from that.
Yeah, and the thing is, pretty much every card in the deck replaces itself. It's a lot of like 1-drops
spirit
that
bug draws.
like
the spirit, the Goddard spirit.
Yep.
And then what's also crazy is you're playing 4 of Distortion of Time.
Yep. So then it's just drops. So
you've got a lot of lockout. You've got a bit of control in there, and like
it's very interesting.
Fixing. Yeah,
it's a wonderful deck to see work.
It's
like watching it is fun.
And game 1, if it gets there, super impressive. And the first time I played against it, I was just like, wait, this is turn 3. You have like 4 9/9s. What's happening?
Because most of these decks in this format aren't running main board edition hate, so this card just like this.
Really,
card just
the only
gets
edition
to be there.
hate we have in the format is Destruction of the Portal.
And the White Rune.
Oh yeah, that gains the gain 1,000 or destroy.
Dispel.
I love that card. I think it is very very.
I believe it's a chant rune. It might not be.
It's not.
Which is sad.
It's a regular 1 cost though. Gain 1,000 life. super, super, super important life gain in this format.
Dispel. This is our card.
I think that Imul could do a fantastic job running Diversity Town in place of TSW. If
That was a big
properly.
list for a long time. You played Imul Diversity Town. That was a huge thing. And the reason why is dual stones. One, you had access to Kage's Maybe Butterfly, which is great. But two, you
I
can
miss
judgment.
dual stones,
You can
sure.
judgment. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Two,
Where
you
are
can
my
go
black blue
Imul. Imul
stones?
can flip. And then you're just like, okay, Imul effect resolve, and they're like, sure. And you're like, look at top 3. Oh, look, it's a Diversity Town. All my field is gigantic. And you're like,
And
oh,
yeah.
wait. Oh.
And flying and drain.
Yeah, like, because the thing is, there's some subtle nuances in this format with some certain cards where timing of resolution in terms of when you get information and when you respond, like, you actually have to think about it. Like, some particular cards being things like Fifth Element is a huge one.
Oh, I'm glad I did so much testing against Gil.
Yeah, like,
Fifth Element is very odd.
Fifth Element sets, because, like, there's so much. If you don't know what your opponent's hand is, Fifth Element is actually a trap. Like, it's actually a trap card.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Because, like, you can get into a position where, I have, like, 7 cards in hand, as Gil does, and I just go, well, I'll banish to produce, and I'll cast Fifth Element. And then you're like,
because
wait.
what's odd about Fifth Element is that they target first, and
I'm
you got
pulling
the
up the
text.
card right now. Yeah.
So they target first, and after targeting, they don't reveal until it resolves.
Yeah, so I just get to go,
Yeah, so like, you target an enemy, whatever,
like
resonator,
a
whatever.
9/9.
Yeah,
Sure.
and you're like, and then as the player, you're like, okay, they need to have 3-4 elementals to
Ooh, I want
beat my.
Brunhild. What table number is it at?
You need 3 or 4 resonator or 3 or 4 elementals to destroy my resonator, and so you're like, do I let this go? Do
I try to
use
pump
one of my
it?
barrier spells? Do I
Yeah.
pump it?
Yeah, and then
Do I sack it sometimes?
Jalen White? Sure.
So, but what's also going to catch you about Fifth Element if you're not practiced is that once you let it resolve and they reveal them, it happens. So when I was first
It's
testing, I didn't understand. So I was like,
Jalen.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you cast it. And then he's like, okay, reveal 4. And I'm like, yeah, barrier. And then he's like, sure, but I already resolved it, your resonator's gone. So Fifth Element, a big sequencing card. Gil is all about sequencing.
100%. I'm just getting our next round here set up, guys.
Yeah,
just give me one
get the next
second. All the
round.
text set up here.
I believe I heard Steph say we're gonna have a Brunhild up
We
there.
are. We are gonna have Brunhild versus Lucifer.
Ooh.
I'm excited to see
I'm
that.
excited for that.
That's gonna be, and unfortunately you are gonna step out.
Sadly,
So we're gonna have.
I am gonna be, taking a peek at that game though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
So we have Brunhild. I'm gonna get it. I'm very excited.
We're getting pairings up. Should be out pretty soon.
Attention force players, your round 2 pairings are now going up. Your round 2 pairings are now going up.
Pairings are up.
Both of these players, they're sitting at table 12, and they are both 1-0.
That's what you want to be in round 2.
Yeah.
There you go. You're off to a good start.
So I'm getting everything updated here.
It'd be wild to try to always hit diversity count off Imul. Yeah. Yeah, it's very odd colors. I don't think you could play it with Imul because Imul needs to be black-white because Patrick Frankenstein is just really the strength of Imul right now. So if you're trying to go black, white, blue in this format with no dual stones,
It's
I
too
don't
much.
like that at all.
It's too much.
Goodness, I miss Dark Depths. The Ogre Stone, Dark Depths.
From my time on the Ogres, it was our favorite stone.
We miss our black blue decks.
Sounds good.
We
I'm
miss
gonna
our
go make
space-time
sure
anomalies.
that we have our stream sitting down here.
Stream is
So go
setting
ahead and
up.
push it down there.
Brandon Bremont
will be joining
great
us
player
here.
is going to be taking over for me when he gets up here.
Sounds good. I'll
Until
make sure
then,
to flag him down.
I'll keep bothering you guys. There he
coming
is.
up here to hang out with us.
Alrighty, chat.
It's been wonderful having you, Del.
It's
Good luck.
wonderful being
Enjoy
here.
your bye
You
of
know?
rest, and then we'll see you next round.
Sounds good. I'll catch you guys later.
How's it going?
It's going well, man. We're Brunhild versus Lucifer.
Brunhild versus Lucifer?
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Some new Valhalla rulers.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh, jeez. I look super homeless right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay. They can't see you, so it's fine.
Oh, perfect.
So you can focus over here.
Aha. Jalen White and Frank Klosser.
They're already at 13 minutes and 44 seconds left on round. Just kidding. We haven't reset the time clock yet.
Okay.
So.
All right. Man, this is such a nice setup, Jeremy. You're doing so great.
It's fine.
Glad you made it, Brandon. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah, we are glad to have you here, buddy.
Glad I made it, too.
How's that pumpkin spice?
Oh, man, it's keeping me alive, bud.
I'm going to post that we're going live for round 2 here.
So I worked with Frank on this Brunhild list.
Did you now?
I did.
I saw it earlier.
So
I am very impressed by it. I like it a lot.
I basically know what's in this list, so hopefully that'll improve the commentary a little bit. Do we know anything about this Lucifer?
I do not. I don't have the deck list. I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
All I know is they are both undefeated.
I'm guessing it's probably like turbo discard, and the key difference that we're going to see is there's kind of like 2 ways to go with Lucifer, right? Sure. You have like the turbo discard with all the kills and control, and you end the game later with like Blazers and what's her name, Azazel's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there's an aggro version that plays Frankenstein's Jeanne d'Arc, Faith in the Darkness, and then also the turbo discard package. Yeah. So it plays kind of like, basically a lot like Frank's deck, except that it's mono black, so it's got a little bit more consistent stones, and the black runes are a little bit better, besides the white rune that revives Jeanne d'Arc.
Right.
So we'll kind of see where that goes. Where do they get these playmats?
Oh, these Crest playmats?
Yeah.
So these Crest playmats were, one I picked up, I personally picked these up from other players who have acquired them over the years.
Yeah.
We're raffling off a banner.
Oh, fun.
So, like, in spite of all the other prizing, you're also getting raffles.
Oh, the pricing of this event is just insane.
Yeah.
It's incredibly cool.
Round 2. And with that, the 50 minutes on round has begun. Looks like Frank's going to be going second.
Yep.
Here with Brunhild.
Like get some cuts going.
Let me get up a card here. There's a card that doesn't matter.
Do you want to take a look at Jeanne d'Arc? Have we seen that yet?
Yeah, we have. We were looking at it for a bit.
Okay. That's an important one for probably both of these decks.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Pictures.
I'm trying to figure out what's in this guy's hand here so I can figure out what version of Lucifer he's playing.
So I think both decks are probably going to have these Jeanne d'Arcs in it.
So I'm seeing some glint of insight. That's pretty good if the opponent is on to what Frank's doing, because this deck really is. Frank's deck is super into Jeanne d'Arc. A lot of the cards in the deck involve reviving Jeanne, caring about Jeanne existing.
A Stone of the Dark Castle, getting a mystery counter.
Yep, I think that's very common in basically every Darkness deck. Frank's playing for that stone too.
Oh, okay. So what do you guys use the mystery counters for?
Glint of Insight flashback.
It's just Glint of Insight flashback.
Speaking of the devil, here's the glint itself.
He called Flourishing Hope. He called Flourishing Hope.
That's a very interesting call.
Interesting.
I don't know if I would do that. It points more to this being the control version, though. The control version cares a lot more about getting that out of the hand.
So Glint of Insight, let me put that on screen for you guys real fast.
So Frank's hand is Skeleton, Frankenstein, Resuscitating Will, Bathor, Angel of Treasure. This is a very, very good hand. Because with Frankenstein on 2, you can attack for 20, resuscitate it, and attack again.
Oh, and, and there's 20 damage.
Right, and it triggers twice, but both of those triggers resolve on the next untap, so it'll still recover 2 turns later. So you get kind of a double dip out of your 10-10. The skeleton is there to turn on Jeanne d'Arc, so when you have the skeleton, it's very sticky. It's hard to get rid of it, and Jeanne d'Arc gets to stay indestructible a little bit longer.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And
Magic Stone of Faith coming down here.
That's not good. Frank only plays 4 white stones. This will let him play Whispers of the Angel on his untap, which we are playing basically exclusively in case you hit the white stone turn 1, but it's definitely not what you want. Let's see what he plays out here.
Seeing
Boku. Okay, so this is the control version then.
Yeah.
So this is an anti-control card. It basically, it's a 0-10. Jeremy's going to get up here in a second.
Pull it up.
That says your opponent pays 1 more to cast spells on your turn.
Dark Bokuro. Yep.
And so it makes it very difficult for guilds to like play free Arrival of the Heroes after judging their ruler, that kind of thing. Actually, I guess this could be aggressive still.
Ray the Black Owl coming
Ray,
down.
that's about the best 2-drop he can get on hitting a white stone turn 1. If the black deck doesn't deal with this, no matter what version it is, it's going to really struggle with the flipped 0. Life and Death Struggle. Okay, so that is a way to deal with it. Life and Death Struggle, they're both going to vanish. They're only Resonator.
He's probably like being like, Dark Broker doesn't really do much at this point.
Yeah, so that basically confirms this is the turbo discard control version, which, we'll see. We'll see that Frank's deck is very good against that. He just discarded Jeanne d'Arc, so on Frank's turn he can revive it for 0, which is very good.
Both players have to sack a Resonator they control and discard a card.
The Lucifer player just discarded a Frankenstein, though, which kind of doesn't really play well with.
He might have had multiple copies in hand.
Right, but I'm saying the deck in general, it doesn't really play well with Life and Death Struggle, which is kind of an interesting inclusion for me. I'm very excited to see more of this Lucifer. So Frank can play Skeleton, Bathor, Revive John, and it's an indestructible swiftness.
Yeah.
Both of those creatures are very difficult to kill because Skeleton, when it dies, it doesn't change John's status at all, and Bathor replaces herself if you're going to use a removal counter on her.
So the way he's reviving in here, for those of you guys who might be wondering, this is a rune that Brunhild has. It's Brunhild's...
This is looking very good for Frank. He's really in control of this game right now.
It's Brunhild's Command or something. I can't remember
it's
exactly what it's called.
Phalar's Summons.
Yeah, not even close to what I said.
Einhard. Einhardnyar. It's a Norse word, and I don't know it.
I think it's Einhardnyar.
Sure.
So swinging in for that 7 because it does have the swiftness. Oh, Jet Black Wings coming in at the post. Okay. So it's going to kill Jean. They're all going to die.
Yeah,
because it's a permanent. So it's just going to hit 3. I think that's a smart play.
Yep, he's going to get the skeleton
which immediately die.
Yeah.
The skeleton immediately dies.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, that was a little bit unfortunate. Frank does have the double white, so if he's
following
playing...
it up with the Look of Corruption here.
Borazuki.
I'd probably hit the Blazer, if I'm honest. Yep.
The Blazer is really what Frank's going to want to use to reload.
So Look of Corruption is just better thought
control.
So
next turn, Frank could judge the ruler get So what Frank is going to want to do here is play out sticky things that don't die, and then next turn he's going to judge his ruler and revive John. John does count J resonators.
Yep.
So and the J ruler is likely hard for the Lucifer deck to deal with unless he's
deciding to play Sword of Lament, which is the J ruler kill rune.
I believe that Jet Black Wings is a Divinity 3 and the kill the J ruler is a Divinity 3, so it's kind of hard to play both, but not impossible.
You kind of commit to only playing 4 runes out of a deck at a time because you want to make sure to have a 2 for
So we saw
Black Rosario.
We saw Borazuki and Resuscitating Will in Frank's hand.
Yes.
And what's the other card? Oh, another John. Ooh, that's good. One of the sort of win cons that this deck can achieve is can Exodia off by getting 3 Johns on the field at the same time.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, and it's just very hard to deal with.
Yeah, this guy's not playing Flourishing Hope and Burgeoning Despair, which is one of the ways that you
But he does have access to Lucifer, which is Black Rosario, so then he just gets to kill 2 things.
That's absolutely true.
So it's not a perfect system, but it is sticky.
Right. Frank really is running out of cards here. From what I really thought was a commanding position, the Lucifer player is really pulling this back a little bit.
So he searched for a card with the demonic. I can't remember what it's called. Demonic Division. Yep. Lets him search for any card that he wants.
There's a look.
Casting another Look of Corruption here. So the problem is here
he takes John,
Yeah, takes the John out of the way. He doesn't have access. Ooh, we're going to force a random card discarding with Tears of the Fallen.
I don't know if he's scared of either of these cards, but it's possible that he
hits the Oberazuki. That's suddenly Frank has no threats.
I don't really even know which one Frank would prefer to keep.
He does have the Frankenstein on board.
I'm surprised he didn't play Azazel there. I thought that play was setting up for him to have 1 card for Azazel, but so he whispers on his draw.
So he gets to gain 1,000 life.
Yep. No, it's 800.
Oh, is it 800?
It's 800.
My bad.
Card, yep. Oh, I was really hoping for a judge there. I really wish Frank could.
Whispers
of an angel. It's a chant. It's the bottom one, yeah. It's the very last one.
Yeah. This is Whispers. Swinging in for that 10.
I don't think Frank should resuscitate this, to be honest. Yeah, he's gonna. But I kind of wanted him to save that for the J ruler, just because it's a little more damage, and Frank's really running out of cards. He needs to be a bit more conservative here.
It's gonna take another 1,000, go down to 13. Playing the Skeleton Horde.
Do you think the Ray? I really like developing the Ray here, while the opponent has represented an inability to kill Frankenstein. Wait, how did he do? Did he have 2 blacks? Did I miss it? All right, my bad. If you had the mana for it, then this was actually the correct order.
So he plays the Skeleton, and the reason why he's playing the Skeleton and the Ray is, 1, he has to force his opponent to deal with this Ray right now.
Yes. Obviously banish the Frankenstein, okay. Yeah, the Azazel is so
Master Rune
powerful
comes down, I think.
Yeah.
See Black Rosario come down for 2.
Almost certainly.
Black Rosario, very powerful. Of the Master Runes, I think it's probably the strongest.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Black Rosario just says your opponent
Alright,
picks
so
2
now
Resonators.
if he's Black Rosario in here, that puts him to 9 Divinity. So that's the last of the Divinity deck he has to
Pretty
deal
much.
with. I wonder if there's a... Okay, so he could judge and get John back and have 3 Resonators here.
Yep.
Which I have to imagine as a play, especially if he only drew 1 card. It's actually very likely that he can judge and cast that card since he still has the Energize. I'm very shocked at this stone.
Faith in the Darkness works as well, not nearly as good.
He had 2 Darkness stones, right?
He did.
I feel like I really like Faith in the Darkness and then just Energize, get it, because he has no cards in hand, right? So what's he doing with this mana?
Well,
Plus you just get
he needs to Judgment. Her Judgment is 5?
4.
Oh, is there Judgment 4?
It's white too.
Call me
Yeah,
crazy.
I really wish Frank was putting a little bit more pressure on this guy. Is he really at 1300?
As far as I know. He took 7 from
yeah.
He took 7
No,
from a
the
Gene,
double
and then
Frankenstein is just a huge hit.
and then he took 2 from the Frankenstein. Another Azazel.
He's gonna obviously sack the token. Oh, unless he draws. He
Is
might,
the mode to
here.
draw a card.
I can't really tell yet. Probably. I don't think kill a token is better than draw a card. Especially since the John's going to be turned on by a judge anyway.
He has the J Ruler Kill Blade too.
He can't
apparently
cast
in his
it,
rune,
though.
so he's locked out of J.
Yeah.
He's locked out of his rune deck at this point. He's gonna pick to sack the token. There's no
yeah.
reason.
Well, yeah, I don't really like that, especially since the John's turned on anyway.
Oh, and then a Joan from the opponent.
This guy's got a very interesting deck. He's really a combination of the 2 things I suggested he was at
So
first.
Bethor's gonna block, and then we're gonna see a Joan swing in for 7. So putting the pressure back on. So here's the thing that I think the timing of this Gene is actually really solid for the Lucifer player.
Yeah.
In the fact that like Frank is now top decking, which means that in terms of like, don't get me wrong, he still has access to the Master Rune. The Master Rune,
another John.
but the Master Rune doesn't kill Gene.
He doesn't have access to the Master Rune. He used it.
No. I'm talking about Frank. Frank has access to the Master Rune.
Oh, I see.
For Brunhild, but it doesn't kill Gene.
No, well, that's why I think he judges here, gets Gene from the yard and Gene from hand, and then next turn he can Master Rune, and then and it doesn't kill anything on his board.
Yeah, it's just a one-sided board wipe.
I mean, I struggle to not think Frank's gonna flip here. Bathor and Gene, yeah, it's got to be flip play Gene. There's no other play. Those are mystery counters, right? Energizing a mystery
Correct.
counter. Okay. Revive the John. He's gonna Evil Elemental main board.
Whoa!
Wow, that's incredible.
Spice. That actually, I think,
Wow.
might be pretty damaging for Frank.
It definitely is. He can
Evil Elemental Uprising, in response to the target, just immediately got rid of all of Frank's graveyard. So Frank's just judgmented for...
and
then the 3-drop... That's the 2-drop
two-mana
kill of
destroyer,
3,
3 or less.
Three or less.
Frank's at a very healthy life total,
Oh,
which
yes.
is nice.
But now Lucifer gets to start mounting more and more pressure.
Right.
And we know that he's playing Genes at this point, which means that at this point it could kind of crack back to a position
Oh
where
my god,
Jalen
he's
has...
got 2 Genes in hand.
So we just... Yeah, so
if he draws the discard packaging stuff, which I'm sure he will, does he have 2 mystery counters? Oh man, he could flashback Glint naming John, which is probably what he's going to hit, and just absolutely blow Frank out of the water here.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's actually got that.
He's just going to flip Lucifer. That does it
That
too?
does the same thing, yeah.
Then it's a safer bet.
Evil Elemental main board. Wow, that was a blowout. It's very metacognizant, though. A lot of decks do not like that. Like, the Witch can play Destruction of Time and then immediately flash it back if she knows about it. But I think most Witches here, at least game 1, wouldn't be playing around that. Like,
Yeah.
And obviously it's very good against basically everything that
And then
Brunhild
another
wants
7.
to do.
So down to 16.
Frank's not actually in a terrible spot here because he can.
Right, he just needs to get...
No, because he can Master Rune, and then that's going to
It
kill...
won't kill Lucifer, though.
It won't kill John or Lucifer, but then he can attack into John. He takes the minus counters, but then he either has to lose the Ruler or John, and it probably is just John.
Yeah, but then it just swings Lucifer into...
Oh, he got the Flourishing Hope. Flourishing Hope.
Pretty relevant card.
It is, because he can...
He can go Flourishing Hope, Burgeoning Despair, make 2 stack 2 things, Brunhild Master Rune, wipe it. It's a really expensive
This
turn.
has got to start with Brunhild Master Rune. I don't see any way that it doesn't.
I think Frank's figuring out cost-wise here. So Flourishing Hope, fan favorite card.
Someone pointed out that he's playing Demonic Division, so playing like 1 copy of Evil Elemental Uprising and like...
You could just go dig it. Yeah, that's fair.
Right. Maybe that is what he digged.
Let me find Flourishing Hope real quick.
Digged Doug.
So Flourishing Hope.
What's he? Is he just casting the Hope? Oh no.
I'm just bringing it up on screen for people who haven't seen it. He's using Aura of the Sun. That's
this is just lethal if he can kill Lucifer.
Because it gives J-Res, right? So it's 14.
Yeah. And he's only the opponent's at 13. It's just Frank has a way to just like get around it. He might have drawn Resuscitating Will actually. If he drew the other Resuscitating Will, this is it. That would be just like the best top deck of all time. Frank is a god.
I will destroy all his enemies.
Oh, it does say it's recovered at the end of turn?
Yeah,
right? Because of the Blessing of the Sun?
Yeah. I was really hoping it was just Resuscitating Will and Frank was a god. This is actually... This game is so back and forth. So I really don't know what the Lucifer is doing. And I don't know what the other card in Frank's hand is.
This is the Blessing of the Sun card, people. Right. It's just 1 white. Everything you control gains +2/+2 and recovers at end of turn.
I feel like I prefer just attacking with...
So he's got Command of Life and Death Engrave.
Oh, you know what Frank's got? It's Flourishing Hope. I forgot about that.
He does have Flourishing Hope.
So he could Flourishing Hope on his draw and then really deal with basically anything that that Jalen plays.
So the problem is if Jalen can get to two more... I mean, I don't think he has 2 more genes, but if he has a way to put...
What is this hand?
So yeah, the hand is really dependent.
So he's got 1 rune that's completely dead.
And he also has Command of Life and Death Engrave, so you can grab a 3-drop or less and put it into play.
He has Command in hand?
Yeah, he has Command of Life and Death in hand.
Okay, so that's probably a John. And then if he has like another Resonator,
Call
then he
Stone. So he's got another mystery counter, so he can do buyback with Glint of Insight.
Yeah, if he casts Glint, then Frank's correct play is just cast it on the ruler. Like the Indestructible just doesn't matter that much.
Sure, yeah.
Especially since we know that the Killer J ruler rune is out.
He's going to mill 2 cards at the deck.
Yep.
To try to hit something to reanimate with Faith in the Darkness. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
The Blazer.
It's intelligent.
It's going to reanimate the Blazer, I imagine.
Yep.
The vice leader of the Chivalrous Thieves.
Yep.
This is just a free card every single turn?
Every main phase, yeah.
Yeah, every main phase. Get an extra card out of it.
Oh, this is so good. This is really good for Frank.
Yeah, because
that was really exactly what Frank wanted Jalen to do with that turn, was basically just cast a big dude and not attack. Yeah, the Lucifer's at 9 out of 10 Divinity, so the only ones he could have left is literally just Sandstorm or the one that makes you hexproof, which I'm guessing he's not playing.
Swinging for 12.
Someone else earlier in the chat said he's playing the Killer J Ruler one, so that's just out. It's actually correct for Jalen for Frank to not do that quite yet, but it's not that big of a deal.
So Burgeoning Despair is it's the inverse side of it, and it just says your opponent sacks 2 Resonators. And
and Frank got it. The one was scooping it up.
Yeah.
Oh, that game was so back and forth.
That was excellent.
At the very beginning, I really thought Frank was was in such a commanding seat, and then the other guy just kept dealing with everything. Frank, I keep saying the other guy. I say the other guy because I know Frank. I need to start saying Jalen, but Jalen started.
Really pushing pressure back.
Really pushing it back. The double Azazel with the Johns. Really, I mean, I thought Frank was like down, but I think that what's really going to matter in this matchup is the fact that Brunhild has extremely recurring threats. It's hard for Control to deal with. Brunhild is a 12/12 flying J ruler. Then that's just inherently hard for this deck to deal with. And Brunhild's Master Rune is very good against Darkness mid-range decks, or any mid-range deck in general. Which I think this is what this is going to qualify as. If it has like Blazers and Azazels and stuff, it's just a mid-range deck. He can really never put that many dudes on board. If he puts just like 1 or 2, then they die to Burgeoning Despair. And if he goes all the way out, then it dies to Brunhild's Master Rune.
Yeah.
So I feel like Frank is feeling pretty good in this position.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Frank, having kind of brought it back on that game 1.
Right.
He's probably feeling pretty confident. You can hear him on the player audio. He was like, "Oh, that was way closer than I wanted it to be."
Right.
But I think that goes to show. I mean, we saw the ruler breakdown for. I guess I can go over it again for those of you who might be joining in.
Yeah, sure.
So we had 97 players who were pre-registered for this event, or who were registered for this event. 84 of them showed up because of like different varying reasons in terms of like last-minute travel issues and stuff like that. So 13 Time Spinning Witch, 12 Kirik, 9 Brunhild, 9 Lucifer, 8 Shamimi, 8 Gil, 7 Ayu, 6 Isis, 5 Imul, 3 Loki, 3 Tigris, 2 Scarlet, and then 1 each of Ciel, Freyla, Hanzo, Rhea, and Shayla.
So do you know which of those rulers I find the most surprising?
Ciel?
No.
Oh.
Rhea. I am shocked there's only 1 Rhea.
Oh, you're finding shocked that there's only 1 Rhea.
Right. I actually played a lot of Rhea. I mean, and I'm not saying like it was the best deck, but I thought it was definitely better than just a one-of showing. I mean, it was on the short list of decks I was considering, but it
The short list of 6 different decks that you were considering?
The not very short list at all.
1 second, I'm going to go fix that.
I'm sorry.
Jalen has a stone in his main right now, yeah. Alright, well, it's just me now. Yeah, I'm looking at this game, and I'm trying to figure out where Jalen's life went. Like, yeah, the 20 hit from the Frankenstein must have felt pretty awful for Jalen, but I mean, I think maybe Resuscitating Will is just ridiculously good in this matchup. Maybe it's like a lot better than I'm giving it credit for. Jalen's probably coming into maybe other Evil Elemental Uprisings. Do you think he comes into black tiers against this deck?
Do I think that Frank comes into black tiers?
No, Jalen comes into
black tiers. Jalen comes into black tiers?
Because it hits the reverse. It hits reverse 0. It hits Skeleton Horde. That's it, actually.
I don't think it's necessary.
So, how dead is this deck to a flipped 0? You think? I guess the Lucifer.
Dead is this deck? The Lucifer Master Rune helps a lot.
Yeah. The Jet Black doesn't kill it.
Jet Black Wings doesn't kill it. It's pretty devastating, I would imagine. Let me turn my
best
gain
2
up
out of
just
3.
a little bit.
That is correct. It is best 2 out of 3 with sideboards.
Yep.
That's what they are doing right now. 1 Rhea Punk Champ. Yep.
We were talking before about how it's very surprising, I think, to see CL at this tournament.
I want to find that Seal deck. Well, with no duels. I want to find the Seal player. Brave.
The brave and powerful CL player.
Maybe it'll top. Maybe we'll see it.
Yeah.
This is a really exciting match to watch. It
has been really good. Excellent.
Yeah, it really has been quite back and forth. Very good games of Force of Will.
From both, yeah. Very high quality play from both players.
Yeah. And get to see some cool new Valhalla rulers, too.
Yeah, that's what it's about. That's the whole point.
How does Azazel interact with 0? So 0
nothing.
Says that nothing.
It cancels them. It cancels It cancels 2 things.
It is not a very favorable scenario for Azazel. It will pop both of their bubbles though.
Yeah. So to talk about 0 real quick for you guys, let me just put it up here on screen.
Yeah.
So 0 is the inverse side of Ray. It's an 8/9 flyer. It says entities you control gain when this card is targeted by anything, cancel it. This trait ability can only trigger once per turn. So while 0's on field, everything has like a free wind secluded refuge worth of like protection. It's just like a one-time, but it's mandatory. It's not like a May.
We're saying Sandora.
Sandora, sorry.
Sandora is the more updated.
Yes, sure. So it's everything has one essentially a Sandora attached to it. And so because you targeted 2 things, both of their bubbles will trigger and pop them. So Azazel gets to pop both.
That really is the best way to describe it, is that they have bubbles that get popped when something tries to target it.
Yeah. So choosing to take the play here, getting a mystery counter turn 1.
Yep.
Playing Look of Corruption. I think he has a glimpse of Glint of Insight in his hand. So that's pretty solid.
I think it's very incorrect to take John here, and
I agree.
And we'll see if Jalen knows that. Sometimes when people play against this deck, they know it's a John deck, so they think that they can take it, but really it doesn't do anything. I think 0 is the most correct take there.
I think the Ray was absolutely 100% the right tech.
There's
Darkness
Frank's
Stone.
Mystery Stone. Yep. It's one of the best turn 1s this deck can do besides its own hand hate.
Skeleton Horde is just this 1-drop 4/4 that when it dies,
it's a real dorky dude, but man, that card is better than anyone gave it credit for. That card is in almost every Darkness deck I see nowadays.
What is this? Minister of... This is the 1-drop that lets him look at a hand.
That's right. That's just enter the battlefield, look at a hand.
Look of Corruption. And it's also a 4/4, I believe.
You believe. And it does not spar very well with that skeleton.
Yeah, it's a 1-drop 4/4. So it's also just like I was planning on like looking at your hand whether or not I want to use this discard now.
I think what he would tell you is that it helps the glint. So like you play it and then you play glint and then your glint will never miss.
But he already did what his opponent's hand was.
Right, and honestly, like, it's not that hard to figure out what's in your opponent's hand for glint. Like, it's just not. worth this 4/4. I've seen a few people play it. I personally really dislike it. I'm pretty sure the sealed player is Vincent Park. This is his second GP and his first ever GP. He got 17th place, which is not bad at all. Cool. Hopefully we'll see it do well. We're not... I actually think Frank does not go in here, even though it looks like the skeleton spars really well with the dude. You really want to keep the sticky minion around. See, I don't like that because he just trades it. Pass is really odd to me. Does Frank not have another Resonator in his hand?
I don't think he has an Azazel, which is a 4-cost.
Yeah.
And a Faith in the Darkness. He doesn't have access to Double Dark.
Yeah. That's a real shame because this would have been a great turn to revive John, play a 2-drop, and come in.
Or play Faith in the Darkness, then revive John.
Yeah. Well, either works. Faith in the Darkness is just a Resonator.
Essentially.
We really want to hit another Darkness Stone, then we get to go John next turn.
Calling Joan.
We don't get to John next turn unless we hit it off the Faith, which...
And buy it back. He's going to call Glint.
He's going to call Faith, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's going to call Faith.
It's got to be Faith. There's an Azazel that's not even close to a real card yet.
This has actually gone, I think... This
is looking a lot better, yeah.
Oh, he took the Azazel.
I don't agree with that.
I also don't necessarily agree with that.
His stones have really been hurting him. Yeah, Frank's not been getting too lucky with his stones, but like...
Whispers to gain 8, try to draw another card during the upkeep.
He will succeed at drawing another card. Let's hit a Darkstone, Frank. There you go, bud. Mismatching Darkstones, though. Ugh.
I mean, doesn't
offended.
Frank try to exclusively play every stone as a different art?
Yes, he does.
That's a pretty common habit of
It's deeply irritating. I think you just Faith here, bud. Faith first. No.
Doing the Brunhild reanimate and Evil Elemental came down to get rid of it. Ooh, an altar.
Why not altar first?
And a skeleton.
Okay, I guess he's just going to like try and draw a lot of cards with these things dying, and then that's how he's going to beat the turbo discard deck. His hand is just Faith, right?
Hand at this point is just Faith in the Darkness. And with no Evil Element, with no graveyard.
Actually, that altar probably does some serious work against this matchup, because if he just draws 2 or 3 cards off of that, like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot of value. Absolutely. So I think there's partly... So let me propose something.
Yeah.
Oh, Faithful Vampire.
Faithful Vampire is quite a card. If that thing connects, you're probably never going to lose to an aggro deck. And
let me pull this bad boy up. So here's an interesting thing. And
Aaron said that Faith was correct, so it must be wrong. So I now agree with the altar play.
So here's one of the things that I have a question for you here. In being back this turn, having the 3-drop will, with knowing that he only has access to the 2 will with the Energize, would that have been a turn to Jet Black Wings, seeing the altar, limiting Frank to a maximum of 2 card draws and getting 4 things off the board instead of the Faithful?
It's a consideration for sure.
Because it would force him to burn Energize, right? If he wanted to draw 2 cards, and it would get both skeletons and both of the skeleton tokens off board.
Sure.
So that's like maybe?
It's definitely on the board of options. I don't think he has any way to deal with this, like, vampire potentially doing anything. Oh, wait, no, he's playing Bewilder, so I guess he could just Bewilder it on the attack, and then that's like 1 more turn to deal with it.
Swinging in for 4. Takes the damage there.
So we still gotta remember that.
So did he do anything with it in recovery? Did he give it flying during the recovery? I would hope so. That's the correct play, right?
Probably, yeah.
Just give it flying when you have this access to the slow?
Yeah, I think he goes to combat and Frank's got to Bewilder here.
Oh, he's Judgmenting. Just going to rip.
No,
oh, he's Vitality Drain Awakened.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow, just gain a grand of life.
Gain grand, lose a grand, kill the Ray. Sounds good, bud.
That's a solid card. And like in this moment, gets a lot of value out of it.
It also, I mean, the nice thing is now he can draw off the altar because the vampire connecting is not that big of a deal anymore.
Also triggered a draw card.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to rest the Faithful anymore because the guy's tapped out.
So 7 in the air.
if I was Jalen here, I think I go to combat first to see if Frank's going to deal with it, and then I do it afterward.
I mean, it's an instant speed removal spell. There's no reason to.
I assume he gave flying at the draw step,
Yeah.
so it doesn't make a difference. Like, it's not like he's going to get blocked.
Very interesting.
The cheeky Jane trick. Frank draw a falter.
So the problem is here that Evil Elemental Uprising, I think, was really well timed. Not only because it dealt with the immediate problem, but also because it made Brunhild significantly less viable to be able to flip. Because there's just not like the card that he really, really wants to see available for Brunhild.
Someone's saying that Frank took 8 from a flying vampire, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that would be from the 37.
Oh, okay. Sure. I believe you.
Oh, it's 800 attack. My bad. My apologies. It's 800, not 700, so we should be at 30 even. So we saw a Jet Black Wings get cast. Wait, what happened? There was a.
I think he
crashed
I think
into
he
stuff?
master runed. I think Brunhild master runed.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, I was.
No, that's correct.
Paying attention to the
needed-
life thing.
and
Yeah.
then,
Had a serious turn, and then he paid 2 for 2 altar triggers.
his own Ray.
Yep. I wonder if this Lucifer plays Faith. We didn't see it last game, did we? Probably does if he's on John, right?
Potentially. I mean, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't. Maybe as a sideboard tech if you feel like you need to get to your resonators a little faster. Seems a little like unnecessary, but potential. Lots of stuff in. Frank has a fully loaded hand at this point because of those altars.
Yeah, I think the altar is a really cool tech against the Lucifer. I mean, look at all those cards he's got even after the Lucifer's really
Discarded
tried to deal with everything.
Yeah,
the Lucifer
exactly.
still has a Master Rune and a Jet Black Wings, though.
Laser the Legendary Thief.
That'll be cool.
I don't have an image for it. This is the 4-drop. It's 1 black and 3 colorless. 9/9?
8/8.
8/8, thank you.
It enters with a +1/+1 counter, so it's kind of a 9/9.
When it enters, you look at your opponent's hand, pick a card, they discard it, and then put a +1/+1 on Blazer. And he can remove the +1/+1 to either cancel something that's targeted him or remove something that is attacking in combat with him from combat.
Remove an attacking resonator in battle with him.
Isn't it J/Res? Yeah, it's J/Res.
It might be, yeah, sure. It's also got precision randomly, which is actually very relevant. Because the Blazer
Separation of Fates to remove all of the abilities in the main phase, or just before
the Blazer
moving
actually
to
matches up really well with the Ray too, because Ray's an 8/9 on the backside and Blazer's a 9/9 with precision. So he can just crash into the 0 when this flips.
The Separation of Fates here was a good call from Frank, though. It just stops the Ray from being able to flip for a turn.
Yep.
Because it has no abilities.
Yep. I mean, you're not really going to see a whole lot of targets for that in here, except for hitting the John d'Arcs.
Search for a card.
Yep.
What card gets searched here?
Oh, we get to see it this time. Maybe. He was like hovering on Ray there for a second.
So one thing to note about Ray
We don't get
specifically,
to see it.
one thing to note about Ray / getting to 0/0, it doesn't mean that everything has 2 instances of Sandora. What it means is that they both have 2 bubbles that all pop.
Yeah,
like
the zeros don't
just double
stack very
pop.
well.
You just double pop
Like
the
you
bubbles.
could just attack 0 with Blazer, but you can't attack the Ray. Yeah. Well, maybe Frank just didn't want to get crashed for 8 here. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to cycle the separation is probably what I was.
Yeah, get it
like,
into a better card.
Yeah, he gets the Ray to not be flipped and just gets a new card. I don't know. It's kind of important for stripping John d'Arc, though. Like when we were talking about the sideboard, I said Separation of Fates comes in against John decks, specifically for John.
So you could strip
it. And because it loses the -1/-1s, and it loses Indestructible and Swiftness and all that kind of stuff.
It loses a lot of stuff.
It has a lot of text on it.
The more text, the more it loses. And you still can't put star money on it. Sorry.
This is old.
It's an old Force of Will joke.
How would his build go against Gil control, though? Which one?
The Brunhild list?
The Brunhild deck is very good against Gil. Lucifer, I don't really know. I'm still not really entirely certain what this Lucifer is doing. It's a very cool deck. I'm not trying to say it's not, but it does seem like it is hitting a lot of interesting angles.
Playing the Azazel here.
Yep.
Sending the Patchwork Frankenstein to grave as one of the 2 decisions.
You can get a blink token so you can at least get the dude off the board. Yeah. Maybe. Alright, what's going on here?
So Frank.
So Azazel's a 9-10, right? Which is exactly not sparring very well with Blazer. Who's a 9-9? I believe actually Frank has access to the +2/+2 and recover.
He does.
That would
He's
only
playing that Blessing of
really-
the Sun.
It would only really affect the Blazer though, because the tokens still really wouldn't get in very well. I guess the tokens would get in when you could just trade them with Alter mana. That doesn't sound too bad.
Turns it into a 3-mana.
Another
Draw
Blazer,
2?
I'm thinking. This is another Blazer, boys.
Or an Azazel. Nah, second Blazer. That's actually
Can
really
Brandon be
good.
on stream next round? No, I can't. Sorry.
We're gonna take the not pet Frankenstein account.
Do you need me to sign the first one too? Okay, want to make sure.
Anyone else hear static when Jeremy talks?
I hope you don't hear any static. I can turn down my gain a little bit. How's that better? Should be a little bit better. Thank you guys for pointing out if there's any audio things that you are hearing. It helps us keep everything balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very interesting... I think we're back to the similar position that we saw in Game 1 in the form of, like, Frank very much feels ahead. This is a pretty well-established position. The question becomes, like, is Jalen going to be able to, like he did before, like, push it back? Patchwork Frankenstein and a Jonah Arc coming down here.
We've already seen a Master Rune. Does Frank have a Flourishing Hope?
Not in hand. It doesn't look like. It looks like Glints of Insight, Corruption. Just passes the turn there.
There's
Just
the Faith.
Interesting. Evil Elementaling him back.
Before recover,
Before recovery. So what's the point there of Evil Elementaling there? Just because you have to...
it takes the Glints out of the graveyard.
Sure.
It takes Command of Life and Death offline. It's kind of weird because he's probably going to kill this board here. Like, he's going to Blessing, and then he's going to probably put the Blazers into the 0. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
use the Blessing here. He's cast it.
Mm-hmm.
I just hear him cast it.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's coming into 0 here. Jet Black Wings.
It's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I think Frank might have just forgotten about that.
Because that's just, you know, okay, cool, your Blazer is now crashed in. He's going to pay 3 will and probably gain 3 life.
Gain 3 life?
Or sorry, draw 3 cards.
Oh, yeah.
Pay 3 will to gain 3 life would be a really bad card.
Yeah, Frank actually is facing down a lot of damage.
Those tokens should also be
Yeah,
dead.
the tokens are super dead. I don't know what Frank's doing.
Hopefully he catches it.
Nope.
There's
Jalen
the
got it.
catch. So the
We're gonna
Blazers all have
3
essentially
triggers.
this is a -4/-4 to the board.
So
from
the
base
cool thing
stats.
about Alter is you don't have to pay for it until it resolves. So he can get like 3 Alter triggers, pay for them one at a time, and keep deciding if he wants to do the next one or if he's got something to play. So I think this means that he actually has 6 mana worth of play on his turn.
He's attacking the Joan.
That's really odd. Oh, Faith. He probably has
Separation of Fates.
no Flourishing Hope. So he gets to Flourishing Hope here. It doesn't actually save the -1/-1
He's
counters.
attacking the Gene though.
Right, but if he has to banish 2 Resonators, he has to banish the Gene and 1 other, and if he banishes 2 others, then the Gene will still have that damage marked on her.
Oh, Belial coming down for 6.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'd just kill them all that way, I guess. That's a way to do it.
So the John did take the damage then?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's happening here is John wouldn't normally die to Belial, but once she loses indestructibility, she'll have the damage on her and she'll die.
Right. Yep. We talked about this before.
Why did Azazel not die?
Because it's a fallen angel.
Oh, of course. Duh.
Oh, yeah. So you lose 300?
So Belial is right here, and he's going to lose 300 life. 30 all. Not 300, not 3,000. My apologies. That was a smart play by Frank.
Yeah, it was powerful. This game is so back and forth. I'm really struggling to predict who's going to win this. Although given that they only have 11 minutes left, it's probably either Frank or draw. Hey, there's Stephanie's favorite card.
Eremos. So the 3-drop.
Hey, Stephanie.
Eremos 3-drop 8/8 has barrier from like chance and runes. Has flying as well. And then Lucifer flip.
Frank's hand actually survived a Lucifer flip, didn't it? Or is that the
it
only
did.
card? Okay.
It did.
So Frank still probably has to be afraid of the hit J ruler rune. But if he does the hit a J ruler rune, then he doesn't have Lucifer's master rune, and that might actually be a fair trade, honestly.
Brunhild coming in.
Yep.
He's gonna remember to invert his altar.
Yeah.
Oh, the Valkyrie.
Yep, it's indestructible on your own turn, and I believe does something else.
Catching that he needs to do the invert here.
Sorry, yeah, I read the wrong one.
That Magic Stone of Faith into play tapped. Paying 3 to play the Blazer for hand. Looks like he has the Vice Leader of the Chivalrous Thieves. Swings in for 12, takes him down to 18. Yeah, this is pretty good for Frank in the form of like...
Frank's just got a bunch of huge dudes. So
yeah.
So Jalen has to choose between Master Rune, clear the 2 Resonators, or...
3 Resonators. Oh, sorry.
2 Resonators, and then kill the J Ruler with the...
There's 3 Resonators on board right now. There's a Belial, the one that has...
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then there's a Blazer.
The glare
like,
was difficult for me. Oh, never mind then. Then that's really hard for him.
Swinging in for 8.
So he's destroying the J Ruler.
And it looks like it looks like he said sure on the 8 damage. It's down to 22.
Yep, he's got 2 flying blockers, but we'll see. I believe Frank is out of Divinity too. Otherwise, he could.
I also believe that's true. It's a little hard to see because of the glare.
The Master and zero value here. Jen can sack both to alter and kill the 8/8 though. Yeah, that's true. 18. Aaron's saying he called a stone and didn't attack for 8.
Oh. Well, good catch.
This is an interesting attack here.
Thinking about whether or not to attack, actually. Looks like he's probably potentially going to go for it.
Yeah, Frank's representing quite a bit of damage here.
Yeah.
12, actually, no. 19. If he attacks and Jalen doesn't have any cards, it's lethal because he could just attack with Blazer. And then if it goes blocked, then the other 2 are huge and flying. And if it doesn't, then you attack with a 12/12, sack the other 2 to kill the Eremos, and that's still lethal. So
because it's an ability and doesn't have barrier from the ability.
Right. It's only got barrier chant rune. But obviously Jalen could have a card, and that just all goes out the window. Yeah. Okay. So Jalen correctly chooses not to attack.
Before that ability goes on,
we're
he's going to Vitality Drain,
okay,
Awaken,
sure.
Kill the Blazer. So a little life point swing.
Yes, it is.
So back to 20 to 28. And now we're back to Jalen.
Yeah,
representing lethal.
Well, Jalen doesn't represent lethal because Frank could just attack.
It's 27 light damage anyway.
Oh no, actually, Jalen could just eat both these attacks. So yeah, that is
exactly.
That definitely is.
It's 27 on board though. It's 8, 8, 16.
Are they remembering these Belial triggers when anything dies?
Oh, I think so. So there'd be one thing died, so he should be at 27.
Something else is going to die here. Yep.
So he'd be down to 26.
Yeah.
Another Blazer coming in, and the other Blazer coming in. Blazer in the day, Blazer in the night.
All right, now they're both hellbent, but Frank has a whole board, and the other guy's got Eremos and no more runes. So I believe Frank has got this.
He only has 1 card in hand, too. He's just top decking.
It's really hard to think of what Jalen could hit here. Even a Belial doesn't do it. That's just a John. It's not even Swift. Yeah, Frank's got it. Because you could even so you play the John, you attack the Blazer into the. I'm sure there's some way to use Alter to have lethal here by like removing the second blocker.
He's just gonna can't see anything. He's just gonna concede.
Woo!
So.
Good job, Frank. 2-0 win for him.
And good on for Jalen. Definitely.
Oh, for sure. Fascinating deck.
Like,
fascinating deck.
Pushing
was,
pretty hard to be able to force Frank to really have to work for it. It definitely wasn't an easy.
GG Frank for sure.
Like. So
the,
excellent play from both players.
When I first sat down here, I was talking about the two different like breeds of Lucifer that I kind of like.
Sure.
The control version and the aggro version, and that was a very interesting marriage of the two of them.
Yeah.
In that we saw like John and Frank, but also life and death struggle, several glints and looks. What was the other card that I thought was weird? Oh, the rune deck is a little interesting for an aggressive mid-range version, in that you have like, both the -6/-6 and the Killer J ruler.
Yeah, I'll pull that card up real quick. It's just a,
Life and Death Struggle? Is that what you're pulling up?
No, I'm just going to pull up the for people who are wondering, it was Sword of Lament. That's the 3-drop, Divinity 3, destroy target J ruler, Sephiroth on a card.
There you go. No, it was a cool deck. I really hope that we can continue to see that. I hope he continues to do well. Obviously, I am always rooting for Frank, a good friend of mine.
It's going to be interesting to see how things are going to shape up going into this next round, because after this next round...
I have to play this next round.
You do have to play this next round. Your buys only get you so far. Go have another pumpkin spice latte.
I need it. I'm falling asleep in this chair right now.
So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of these next rounds when suddenly all the players... I think there was like maybe... I think like 20 players.
So you're being told like which decks are doing well, right?
I'm not getting a total record in terms of who's up or down right now. It's just I'm streaming kind of topper tables, and
okay.
Steph is doing a really excellent job of like finding me
interesting matchups
and stuff.
Cool.
Can you not hear me in your ear? You should be able to hear me in one of your ears.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. You were just like picking it up. So
no, I'm sorry. I was just
all good. So we're working on trying to get a lot of as best diversity as we can in the top tables.
Well, you don't even have to try that hard, because this is an extremely diverse tournament anyway.
Absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see. At this point in time, we've seen 4 different rulers. So we saw Lucifer versus Brunhild, and we saw Time Spinning Witch versus Scarlet in round 1. So,
Scarlet, huh?
Yeah, so there were 2 Scarlets here at the list. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what comes out of it, especially since we had these 20 players who had these buys who are suddenly now re-entering the event.
Now the buys players come in.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes things up, especially because we have all these... We've seen the numbers, right?
No.
We've seen these numbers, but we honestly have no idea which ones of these numbers existed in the event now or in the buys. So suddenly all these...
sure.
We don't know which rulers have been sitting waiting to re-enter the field. So at this point in time, like, it could be that all 8 of the guilds have just not been playing.
Right, of course.
And so then we get to game 3 and suddenly all of it in. It could
Here the guilds are.
Right. It could be that a bunch of the time spinning witches or the imuls or whatever. Like, we don't know how the top tables, especially the top tables, are going to be like scattered to the winds in terms of distribution. Right. Because everybody who has a buy, who has 2 buys, walking into round 3 with just as good of a record of everyone who's 2-0 after these first 2 rounds.
Yep.
So it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what comes out of it. It looks like we've got about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. In looking at, we've done a lot of discussion together before about what rulers kind of listed here. We've kind of talked about Brunhild, IU, Time Spinning Witch, Jamimi, Gil, potentially a little bit Lucifer, and you talked a little bit about Rhea in terms of like what exists as like these are what you're more gravitating to as top tier. What do you think? Do you think that's after doing more testing and kind of seeing what you're seeing here and seeing what maybe you saw in the field? Do you think that still kind of stands? Like,
so what definitely stands is that the format is diverse. That is almost impossible to deny. That very few decks don't have at least one really solid counterpick matchup. And a lot of even the decks you might consider a little bit lower on the tier, like I put Keurig a little bit low.
Sure.
But Keurig still has just an insane Chimimi matchup, and there are
the second most represented.
Right, exactly.
It's 12 Keurigs versus 8 Chimimis.
So I mean, you could sit down here with a deck that just has a great snipe matchup, a couple of 50s, and a couple of bad matchups, and just get there. I mean, you could really just play whatever you want. I think that, and I know that in our little chats with a bunch of the players that we respect, we had kind of narrowed it down to 10-ish decks, which it's almost funny to say narrowed down to 10, right?
Right. But I mean, there's a lot in this meta. So.
Right. And but some of those decks were like I had 3 different Gil versions there. There's 2 Witch versions, 2 Brunhilds that I like. So it's not like that many, but I think I've kind of distilled the format down to there being about 3 decks that I was really considering. And that's Classic Witch, the Brunhild that we just saw Frank playing, and Gil are the decks that I really think are
so
up there.
You were joking with us for a while in our private chats about IU, and you were like, I was seriously, legitimately considering IU for a while.
My little brother is on IU. I put him on it, and I think he's going to do great. I think that IU is a real sniping deck it's going to take some people by surprise if they're not ready for it. It'll win almost every game 1, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely.
Right now.
So we'll have to see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see. So has there been any ruler or particularly any, I guess, anything that you guys want to talk about in terms of what has been maybe shifted people away from Gil for this event? Because like we've talked about it before, Gil was like the boogeyman coming into this, but only 8 players were playing it.
It's honestly as simple as like, A, the deck's hard, B, it's a boogeyman, except it's not like Scheherazade in that it's like a boogeyman that's beatable. So it's got a super big target on its back. So like, how many Chimimis are here? 8. Like, yeah, that deck is like here to snipe Gils out. And the time spinning witch that me and several of my teammates and people I talked to are playing are like have tech against Gil in the main board. And like a bunch of ways to really respect the Gil. We saw in the Italian GP, it only had 20 players, but Italians love Gil, and there were 0 Gil in the top 8, and that's just insane to me because so many of the decks in the top just respected Gil too much, and I think you're going to see that here, and I think that's why a lot of people are drifting off it, is because they know, like when you present a deck that might be playable in this format, one of the first questions you're going to get asked is, what's your Gil matchup? How's the Gil play against this? And it turns out that there are many decks that can say I have a good Gil matchup, and that just reduces the number of Gils. There are definitely a few good Gils in this room, though. I know Charlie Demule.
I played against him on his Gil, and he is very good at that deck.
Billy Buttons is on Gil. There's a few more decent Gils here for sure. So all right.
So we have time on round, which is that we have quite a few players who are still playing their matches. For the sake of me, it's now 1:22 here, and I am in desperate need of food. So we are going to take a little bit of a break. I'll put us on 12 minutes of a break. We will be back, and Brandon, we won't have you anymore. Sadly,
I know, I'll be playing card games.
So
you'll have to stream me when I'm in top 8, though.
We'll have to wish you best of luck, and we'll see you guys here back in about 12 minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are still waiting to see how things go. We still have a couple players who are playing in time, but I just thought I'd check in and talk to you guys a little bit just by myself. I'm not sure if I have a co-commentator for next round because now most everybody is playing, but I will be seeing what I can do. We are looking to potentially try to see one of the Gil or Shamimi lists because we're kind of like going down the top. We might grab a Kirik as well. We'll kind of see what we can grab. One thing I just realized is we don't. There's 6 ICES, I guess is how you would say it. So I just thought I'd go through the chat and talk to you guys a little bit. If you guys have any questions about anything, or you want to have some interest in what happened or things like that, I spent some time just kind of being with you guys a little. Let's see. Yep, we're going to be playing 9 rounds. So at this point in time, all of the buys are being introduced, and we have 7 more rounds today. So it's going to be a very long day of Force of Will. Best place to buy product online. Where are we playing? We are playing at the Northfield Ballroom in Northfield, Minnesota. This event is being hosted by, I'll do it this way because it's always backwards, Games and Geek out of Northfield, Minnesota. A wonderful store, getting the first ever WGPQ and sponsoring this Force of Will 10K. Best place to get products online is probably something along the lines of there's TCG Player. You can also go to there's stores that exist out there. You can search up a thing, a few stores that way. TCG Player is probably the best place to get stuff online in terms of like having a wide swath of availability. You can also go to the Facebook Marketplace page, Forcible TCG Marketplace. Pardon me 1 second. And I'm back. There we go. Whoa, that's trying to make myself a little too loud. Why choose the New Frontiers format instead of Wanderer or Block or... So, New Frontiers, Block format is just one set at this point because Valhalla has just been released. So it's not a very explored format, especially since Worlds has already happened. So Worlds was Block. And then Rhea Cluster by itself was played for a while. But then people wanted to see, it was kind of already solved, so people wanted to see kind of what happened as soon as we brought in Valhalla. Wanderer is broken. Wanderer is not a format that is, it's liked, it's enjoyed, but it is inherently still needing a lot of work to be balanced at a competitive level. And that's one of the reasons, and just so for that reason, not a lot of people want to buy it. Or buy into it, and the other reason is not a lot of players have access. Newer players have access to all those older cards, so it kind of wants to wait a while before we see any kind of support in that way. New Frontiers is the easiest way to have a diversive, wide, large card pool that everyone has the access to those cards, so it's not like a limiter in terms of cost or availability, and provides a lot of versatility in deck building techniques or deck building strategies and experimentation, while also having like high-end competitive gameplay. Thank you guys for bearing with me a little bit as I try to get a little sustenance in my body. It's going to be a long day. I am happy to explain. Like I said, we're going to be searching for a Gil or a Chimimi as much as possible, but we are also just going to be getting high-end tables, high-numbered tables here. We have a long way to go still in this event. I believe we have looking over at the crowd right now, I believe we have every table run back. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be all run back. Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm happy, like I said, happy to give the explanation. I hope you guys aren't having any issue kind of hearing me. It sounds like not. Surprised that no one tried to play Adam. So Adam, by design, until we get a lot more runes for him to play around with, is kind of limited. There was a red-white Adam deck that was played at Worlds. It was like a burn deck. It was like an Angel mid-range, then like closed it out with burn using Adam. That had a lot of interesting tech choices in it. I think that when brought into this format, though, with the consistency that comes with things like Time Spinning Witch, that comes with Gil, that comes with Chimimi, that comes with Lucifer, that comes with Broomhild, you don't really want to be playing these like experimental board packages and these experimental rune packages to kind of like sneak in an off-color rune. I just think that's not enough support there to make it justifiable, and that's probably why no one is playing Adam at this point. So, who won the last matchup? Frank Kloster won at 2-0 with Brunhild versus Lucifer. So it looks like we're about to print, guys. So I'm going to put us on like a quick little, I don't know, I guess I can stay here. Just give me 1 second. And with that, I am returned. So the greens, I'm going to make a statement here. There is nothing wrong with trying something new. It's not necessarily embarrassing to try a ruler that's not super competitive at a competitive event. Deck building is to be encouraged. Deck building is something that everybody in this game has to do at some point. And so people like certain types of cards, and they want to try to build a deck that way. That's just the way they just choose to build a deck. It doesn't necessarily make that it's embarrassing to play it. So one of the matches that seemed to be taking a long while was Ryan Miles versus Nick Blandon. We saw Ryan on round 1, so we'll have to see how he did against Nick. All in all, I've been pleasantly surprised with the cards that we've seen and even the matches that we've put. I mean, we've only put 2, yes, but I'm excited to see what else we're going to be able to put on in terms of lots of creativity, lots of close matchups. As you've seen, like, unless you're going to do a situation like we did in round 1 where just like time spinning, it's just this like weird lock over and over and over again, and just like the stones really made it so Charlotte didn't get a chance to do its kind of like backup strategy. There is a lot of intricacies in play in the back and forth of these matches, and the flow in terms of who gets what, in terms of how things go, in terms of where the pressure is, in terms of who's in the lead, who's not, does actually change pretty drastically several times over the course of matches. So there's not nearly as much as it used to be in the past. These very clearly obvious board states where just people can't win. What? Oh, maybe. We'll see. What's your record? Oh, no. I mean, like, we try to sort some interesting stuff. So, if you win this next one, come back to me and we'll put you on round 4. All right. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, we're getting the next round here ready to go. Can I see the spelling? Can I see the spelling of his name? Steph, can I see his spelling for his name? Of his opponent? M-R-T-I-N or E-N? Okay, thank you. So we are getting here back. These guys are both 2-0, sitting at table 3. Let me go ahead and push it over here. So we have Charlie DeMule on Gil versus his opponent, which is on, we don't know what it is yet. So both of these guys are 2-0. So we'll have to see what we end up playing against here. If it's Gil versus Chimimi, you're in for quite a treat, because that matchup has a lot of intricacies to it. Obviously, their time on round hasn't started yet. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this goes. And like we said before, Charlie is a very skilled Gil player, so if you're wanting to learn a little bit about how to play Gil, this is definitely the one to do. This is definitely the person you want to watch. 1 second, they bumped my table. Come in.
The guy like put the table. Bumped this part right here. Alright. Is it good? It should be good. Gotta check.
So we are back. Sorry about that. I got bumped. Exactly what I wanted. Paul is on Kirik. So this is exactly what I wanted to see. Both of these guys sitting 2-0. Two new rulers, aggro versus control. Let's see how this goes. Refresh this here.
Make sure to bring it back up. Wait.
It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Red versus green. So the thing here is, the thing that's a little bit of a tricky thing for Gil in this matchup, or for Kirik in this matchup, is that Gil has so much stabilization with life gain based on the number of white leaves that Charlie is deciding to play. Looks like Charlie's going to be on the play here. They're resolving mulligans here, waiting for time on round to start.
Oh no, we're gonna play it like normal. Imagine you're just sitting over there, so they'll say like round starts and we'll start.
So getting everything ready here.
Same thing, just call judge. It's just being screwed. That's the only difference. Nothing too fancy. That's what I figured. Really.
Sounds choppy on your end. Shouldn't have any audio issues. There might be some choppiness